I think we're live. All right, let's have a look. Let's see if we have anyone else coming to join us, or if it's just going to be me here talking to myself, which, to be honest, is fine. I don't mind. I can definitely just sit here and read this. This is totally fine with me. Ah, there you are. Ah, we do have company. Hey, thank you very much, folks. Thank you for joining. Adam, how you doing? You all right? Where's everyone? Where's everyone's joining today? I can't see any usernames. Just you, Adam, and it's only because I know yours. There you are. Anyone else excited? This has been quite a difficult few hours because everybody else has been sitting and reading the FAQ and talking about it, and I have intentionally not, because I wanted to have a look at this with fresh eyes and just fresh perspective. I didn't want to sort of be tainted by other people's opinions or thoughts or anything like that. I think it's a bit more raw and interesting when you do it fresh with first eyes. So I'm sort of hoping. My phone's exploded this afternoon. Like, it's been going mental. There's been a lot of people just basically going on about all the changes and things, and I've intentionally just not looked at it. So it's been quite difficult. It's almost like somebody's asked me to delay opening my Christmas presents by like 4 or 5 hours, and man, it's tough. It's been tough. But hey, here we go. We're here. We're here. You're here. So I appreciate that. Interesting. Where's everyone from? I know we have our Scottish contingent here today, representing the country. Wonder where everybody else is from. I'll have a look. I'll hopefully you guys can hear me fine and there's no sound issues or anything like that. I'm using a new set of live stream software, so there might be tricks, there might be glitches. Hey, we'll figure it out. We're here for a laugh. Isle of Coll. Interesting, Dan. Oh, Isle of Coll. I'm going to have to Google that. Is that a Scottish island? It is. The west of the Isle of Mull. Interesting. Are you there on holiday, or are you there? Is that where you live? Because that is remote. Yeah, that's the Hebrides. Yeah, that's pretty remote. I can even share. New Jersey. Oh wow, that's even further. Let's test out my my screen sharing capabilities here. Right, there we go. Boom. Right, Dan, this is the Hebrides. Isle of Coll, I believe, is here. I'm in Edinburgh here, so this is Scotland. New Jersey. New Jersey, let's have a look. Philly. Yep, that's a little bit further. It's I mean, it's they share a coast, right, with Isle of Coll, which is what here, and New Jersey's here. So yeah, you're practically neighbors. Practically neighbors. Love it. Excellent. Okay. I'll not torture you too much. Okay, so we're getting there. Dan's on holiday. Nice. I can hopefully you can see these messages there as well. Sweet. Dan, you're in my neck of the woods. Yeah, it's nice. It's a nice time of year to holiday. Definitely. Nottingham, excellent. The home of Warhammer. But ex-Aberdeen, we'll forgive you. I know you moved south for the winter. Nice. Oh, Lauren's chiming in for High Elf Tech. I'll be honest, right? So here's if you're just tuning in, here's what it is. I haven't looked at the FAQ. I thought I would read it together with you guys and just live react, but it's mainly because I can just get a fresh perspective on it and see what's going on. Now, here is basically the premise. This is how we got to this stage. So our expectation has been my expectation has been that this is going to be a significant FAQ. Why? Because the one in January wasn't really anything to think about. So this was basically the next effective one, the next sort of big one. And there was rumor of this sort of like edition refresh or anything like that. Now, obviously, we've seen the new core rulebook, which has had all the erratas and bits and pieces put into it. Now, there was no core rule changes as far as I could see. I mean, the rulebook's sort of out in the wild now. You can see it if you have friends in high places. But I didn't see any changes. So I think I was a little bit disappointed because I was sort of hoping they would start addressing things like skirmishers, start addressing things like low linear obstacles, and all of these bits and pieces that have been a bit of a problem in the game. But the speculation was that maybe what they'll do is they will make changes to the army books, essentially the ravening hordes and everything else. Maybe tweak some points changes and bits and pieces. That was the speculation. And from my brief glances at things, I think that has been what's been going on so far. So we'll see. Let me have a little look and see if we can share the screen. Okay, so the FAQ is out. It landed at 3 p.m. British time, British summer time, BST, I guess, which is about 5 hours ago. And since then, all the chat groups, all the Discord groups that I'm in have gone a little bit crazy. So yeah, it's been exciting. And as much as I've tried to stay off it, I have seen brief glimpses of things. There's a lot that's been happening in this. So I'm sort of hoping that our expectations have been matched, that this is a significant FAQ is going to change up the game a little bit, because the core updated core rulebook hasn't. There hasn't really been any changes to that. So I'm hoping that this will have made that. Let me just see if I can make this layout a little bit better for you. There we go. So that is my expectation, is that there has been some significant changes to this, and I hope it's enough to shake up the meta. I hope it's enough for us to sort of get a refreshed game, because I don't think we're going to get a second edition for a while. Not next year, maybe 2028 at the earliest. That's my personal opinion. I don't know. You guys might differ. I have got the old FAQs loaded up here as well. Should we want to have a look at them? Should look and compare. So let's just dive into it and start with these Battle March ones. Now, this is interesting. I don't know if this is that they are already FAQing the Battle March. I mean, to me, this looks like Battle March. This looks like they're adding all the Battle March rules that are in the rulebook. Minimum 2 units, character limitations, 0x. Oh, this is interesting. Players of Warhammer will already be aware that many units limited to 0x per 1,000, with x being the number, means that such options not normally be allowed when writing a muster list for less than 1,000. However, rather than preclude such fun and characterful options entirely, when writing a muster list for a game of Battle March, you may include a single such option. This may be a unit, a character, or even an upgraded listed within a units option. Okay, fair enough. Yeah. I did wonder how they were going to deal with that. Okay, so I mean, these are the things that you see in the Battle March book. So why? Okay, interesting. Battle March deployment maps. Yep. First turn. I mean, this is exactly what you have in the Battle March book. Okay. So that's Battle March. And then there's a Battle March General's Companion. This does not look like an errata to me. So raid and burn, baggage carts, treasure troves. I mean, this is Battle March rules. I'm not going to read through the Battle March rules for you. I did that on a previous video. But what I am curious about, I'll touch on a few points. One thing I am curious about is why would you buy the book? Secondary objectives. Random happenings. Yep. Disruptive weather. The trolls coming out. Wilderness terrain. I really like that troll rule. That's quite cool. On a 6, a troll comes out of a layer and attacks your unit. Chaos of war. Battle March magic items. All the magic items are here. Okay. So why would you buy the book? I mean, I guess the campaign, the sort of Battle March scenario driven campaign is not here, so you'd buy that. There's also no matched play guidelines here, so I guess you'd buy it for that. But it does sort of feel like you're opening Pandora's box and letting everybody have a peek inside. I haven't pre-ordered my Battle March book yet, but I don't know if I need to now. It seems like everything is already here. One thing I will mention is this baggage cart thing about a baggage cart being a movable terrain piece. Well, it's a terrain piece. It's a model really that you're trying to run off the other end of the board. I think that's quite cool. You can attack it and stuff like that. Somebody did mention about what if you just shoot it with a cannon? Because the Battle March army for Cathay comes with a cannon. So like, why not just shoot it? Toughness 5 for 4 wounds. Yeah. You could quite happily just ping that with 1 hit. That'd be a shame. Okay. So I'm not really seeing a difference to this. Anyone who has seen this, any idea as to what the difference is between this and the Battle March book? Why would you buy it? Weird. Okay, no problem. Hey folks, Jake. All right, so that was Battle March. It's there. I'll not go over it because let's be honest, you folks are not here for Battle March. You're here for the FAQ. Let's dive in and read the main FAQ. Okay. Warhammer Old World FAQ and errata version 1.5.3. Okay, so anything in blue is updates. Anything in magenta or pink is changes. So these are things that have already happened. I'm scrolling. Skirmishers. Skirmishers may charge an enemy that's visible. No, that's existing stuff. Okay, nothing exciting there. More than one combat weapon. So so far, I'm not seeing any changes. Pillar of Fire. Yeah, Arcane Urgency. Was Arcane Urgency 9? I think it was 9 more recently. Demonic Vortex 9. Oh, here we go. Historical Recreation. Change the last sentence of the 3rd paragraph to, in addition, any unit with impetuous special rule suffers a -1 to its leadership when testing to see if it must declare charge. Okay. Historical Recreation. I'm just going to look that up. This resource, by the way, the Warhammer Online rulebook, if you haven't used it before, it's like the most useful thing in the world. It's tow.whfb.app. It's essentially a searchable rulebook. And I've already noticed, I think that if we reload that, they've said at the very top here that the new errata is coming soon. They've linked the errata and they're saying that they will update the changes and there'll be a message up here. So that's quite cool. What's this historical recreation thing? The simplest example of a narrative battle, blah, blah, blah. Simply guidance given here, appropriate armies. So is this like narrative battles? Or is this a actual change across the board for everything? I don't know. Okay, fine. It is what it is. I'll not dwell too much onto that. Historical recreation. So impetuous might be -1 leadership when testing to declare charge. I don't know. It might just be for that specific thing. All right, next one. Match play guide. Grand melee. Add the following to the list of bullet points. No single unit may contain more than half of the total number of models in the army. No single unit may contain more than half of the total number of models in the army. Okay. So essentially, this is a cap on big blobs of Tomb Kings and other things where it's just like, do you remember the Tomb King death list of just like one unit of 100 to 150 skeletons with like characters in it and chariots and everything else? That was a pain in the arse. I'm glad that's gone. No single unit may contain more than half of the total number of models. I would have liked to have seen unit strength there, but fine. I guess you're trying not to complicate it too much. Yeah, okay, that's all right. That's a positive thing. I like that so far. Okay, what have we got next? General principles. Players have choices to make throughout the game. If both players have the same choice to make at the same time, who chooses first? The active player always chooses first. Sometimes this will be advantageous, sometimes not. But choosing first is the active player's prerogative. Okay, so this is a slight change. So, for example, if at the start of turn you are an Orc and Goblin player and you have Fanatics to release, and then at the start of turn you also have, I don't know, Ambushers to roll, then at the moment, the active player chooses. Oh, that's the same, isn't it? Sometimes the active player always chooses first. If both players have the same choice to make in the same time, who chooses first? So is this saying that basically, if I am an Orc and Goblin player and I've got Fanatics to release, that I have to release them first before my opponent does any start of turn stuff? Okay, I need to delve a bit more into that. But again, I don't think that's particularly massive. I might just be saying what we've all been doing so far, and it's just clarifying it. Okay, next one. Can models choose not to make armor, ward, or regeneration saves as it has them? No. If a model can attempt to make a save, it must. This is actually a significant change, specifically for undead. And the reason I think that is, so for example, at the moment, if you are an undead player, you can choose not to make regeneration saves in order to not give up more combat res. However, this says if you have a save, you have to roll it, which means that any wounds you do to an undead player will always count towards static combat res, which is not insignificant. That's quite good. That's a way to sort of bring down the undead a little bit, and I am all for that. Cool, fine, no worries. Next one. Does a unit count as being obscured when some of the models within it are behind others? No, a unit cannot be obscured from the enemy by itself. What's more, models within a unit do not obscure the enemy from other models within the same unit. Oh, they either completely block line of sight. Oh, hold on. Or present no obstruction. Does a unit count as being obscured when some of the models within it are behind others? No, a unit cannot be obscured from the enemy by itself. What's more, the model within a unit do not obscure the enemy from other models within the same unit. They either completely block line of sight or present no obstruction. Ah, right, okay. So the way I read that, I thought what they were saying is essentially models within the same unit do not block line of sight to other models. So say, for example, if I have a unit of skirmishers and you have to be, at the moment, you have to be pretty precise as to how, like, each model has to draw a line of sight to the enemy unit that it's shooting. But I thought what this meant was you no longer need to be quite so precise about that, which would be a positive change because it would really speed up games with skirmishers. It could be abusable, but it would speed up games, and there's a lot of skirmishers in the game at the moment. However, this says they either completely block line of sight or present no obstruction. So I think what this means is essentially your own models do not give like cover to enemy models. I think that's what it says. It says it's a change. I'm just gonna see what the previous wording was. Does a unit count as being obscured when some of the models within it are behind others? No, a unit cannot be obscured from the enemy by itself. Cannot be obscured. Okay, so you're basically saying within the same unit. All right, fine, whatever. I thought they were trying to improve the flow of the game there, but apparently not. Okay, doke. Right, let's have a little look and see. Okay. Oh, hold on. Oh yeah, this is it. Hold on. I forgot I can gift you guys memberships. I think somebody's been gifting memberships. Have they been gifting memberships? Let's have a little look. See, I'm looking at basically the FAQ, so I don't have like a dashboard that I'm looking at here, but that's fine, whatever. If that is the case, that's great. Okay. Can shoot fanatics now, things like weapon choices. Oh, interesting. Somebody's saying 2 hands 95, saying your question was included in the FAQ. That's quite cool. Okay. All right, let's crack on. What else have we got? Okay. Do magic missiles that require the caster to draw a line of sight, a line from their base, require target? No. As stated in the spell's description, simply draw a line from the caster's base. Any model that line hits is hit by the spell. Do magic missiles that require the caster to draw a line? So this is like the Bretonnians have one of these. These sort and so do the orcs. Like these, just like roll 5d6 in a straight line, everything is hit type of thing. To require a target, no. Stated in the description, draw a line from the caster's base. Any model the line hits will hit by the spell. Okay, fine. So what that means is essentially, because it's a magic missile, some items are triggered off magic missiles. And like, for example, if it had a target, you'd be able to use magic res, which this says there is no target. You just draw a line and everything in it is hit. So yeah, just clarifying that. That's fine. I like clarifications. I don't mind that. Okay, if a wizard has a special rule that applies when they attack an enemy, such as Killing Blow or Armor Bane, is that special rule applied to any spells they may cast? Absolutely not. I mean, I'm pretty sure they have already clarified that before. But for some reason they've added that here. So, but I guess, you know, they're trying to make it 100% clear that that's not going to be the case. Fine, no worries. We kind of knew that anyway. Okay. Let's have a look. What we got next. If a wizard has joined a unit, can they cast spells from any rank, or must they be in the front rank? Unless they have a special rule that states otherwise, a wizard must be in the front rank or the first fighting rank of their unit to cast spells. Like all characters, wizards bring no benefit to their unit by skulking in the rear ranks. Okay, cool. So the reason that's there, I think, is previously there was an issue where you would have let's say your unit is 4 wide, like heavy infantry. You have your 3 command and you have 2 characters in it, and one of the characters is a wizard. He suddenly goes to the back, right? And the question was, can he still sling magic missiles from the back rank? And this says no, unless they have a special rule that they can. Has to be in a front rank or the first fighting rank. I don't know why they put first fighting rank. Have they changed fighting rank? But then I don't think they have in the core rules, so God knows. First fighting rank. Ugh, I don't like that wording, but okay, fine. It's there. So yeah, essentially just clarifying that you have to be in the front to be able to sling magic missiles at your opponents. That makes sense. Totally cool. Does a wizard that has joined a unit need to be in base contact with an enemy model to cast an assailment spell, or do they only need to be within the fighting rank? They do not need to be in base, but they must be in the fighting rank. First fighting rank. Why does it keep saying first? Is there a second fighting rank? Second fighting rank. What's this thing about fighting rank? Fighting rank. The fighting rank. The fighting rank, blah, 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 blah. Movement. The fighting rank. Which of these, blah, blah, blah. Oh, it's actually a change within the fighting rank. Okay, so they basically changed it to the first fighting rank rather than just the fighting rank. So clearly there's some sort of changes here with regards to the fighting rank. Okay, fine. I'm just going to keep reading and have a little look. But the clarification here is essentially that, yeah, a wizard, as long as they're in the fighting rank, first fighting rank, can in fact do assailment spells. Cool. I'm happy with that. Okay, we're into movement now. Nothing on the left-hand side. Oh yeah, here we go. When a unit wheels, do you have to measure the curvature of its movement? No, simply measure the unit's movement in a straight line from the end of the front rank furthest from the corner. Oh, God, that's wordy. When a unit wheels, do you have to measure the curvature of the movement? No, simply measure the unit's movement in a straight line from the end of the front rank furthest from the corner around which the unit pivots. Okay, fine. So let me show you. Okay, so what this means is this is my first CD. So this is the unit. What it's asking is, if this is a unit and it goes like that, do you measure this as a curve? And it's clarifying that no, you just literally measure it point A to point B, and that's the distance that they've moved. So you don't need to like use funky trigonometry or anything like that to work out how a unit works, which I'm happy with, to be honest. I don't know if that affects people who have these little wheelies. which I think I do have. I do have somewhere. Okay, fine. Interesting. Let's have a look at the next one. When a unit redresses the ranks, must the width of its front rank be increased or decreased as equally as possible on either side? Yes. The exception to this is when the width of the front rank is increased or decreased by an odd number of models, in which case one side of the unit will gain or lose one model than the other side. Okay, so I mean, this is basically the same as everybody else has been doing so far, and I almost don't know why they had to clarify that, but it might be because this was maybe in another like community FAQ of some sort. This is what everybody's been doing since like very long time. So yeah, clarified something that everybody does. Fine, don't mind that. Okay, next one. Whilst running down the foe, is a charging unit considered to be pursuing a fleeing enemy for the purpose of crossing the edge of the battlefield? Yes, a unit that runs down the foe is very much pursuing a fleeing enemy unit while doing so. Whilst running down the foe, is a charging unit considered to be pursuing a fleeing enemy for the purpose of crossing the edge of the battlefield? Yes. Okay. So I think what this comes from is essentially before, when you have a unit that is on the edge of a battlefield and it is charged by an enemy unit and then declares to flee, there was an argument that the unit that is pursuing the fleeing unit stops at the edge of the battlefield. Okay. And this is clarifying that, in fact, no, it keeps going. And it counts as running down the foe. So they actually go off the board, essentially. I think that's how the interaction works, I believe. That's how I understand it. I don't know if you guys are different. Hopefully it's about the same. Okay. A unit cannot stand and shoot. Oh, is this the question? Two hands. Is this you? A unit cannot stand and shoot if the distance between it and the charging unit is less than the movement characteristic of the charging unit. Fine. But if the unit is charged by two or more enemy units and only one is too close, can it stand and shoot at the other? No. If any of the charging units are too close to the charged unit for it to make a stand and shoot charge reaction, it cannot stand and shoot. Okay, so this is different to how it's been played before. Essentially, if you have, let's say I have a unit of peasant bowmen getting charged by a dragon that is within 10 inches and has fly 10, and getting charged by infantry that have, move 5 but are 10 inches away. Previously, I have seen people, and I'm sure I've played it myself, to be honest, stand and shoot against the infantry unit and then flee against the dragon, the one that they can't stand and shoot against. This is saying that the only reaction you cannot declare a stand and shoot reaction if any enemy units within its minimum characteristics. Okay, fine. It's a choice. It's pretty clear what they've done there, but to be honest, I'm not sure that needed to be done that way. But it's fine. Whatever. Okay, when are line of sight and cover determined for a unit that declares a stand and shoot charge reaction? When the charge reaction is declared. Well, yeah, that's obvious. When are line of sight and cover determined? Yeah, that is, I mean, yeah, that makes sense. I've not seen, this might be the first mention that like there's actually cover for stand and shoot. Let me just have a look and see for stand and shoot. Because standing and shooting, blah, 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 blah. Models are making stand and shoot reaction, suffer -1 to hit. Models do not suffer any additional modifiers for firing at long range. Okay, fine. Okay, so yeah, that clarifies that, yeah, you determine cover when you declare the shots. Fine. It's pretty clear, no problem there. Next one. Some chariots are equipped with large-scale missile weapons, such as bolt throwers. Who shoots such weapons? The crew, the beasts that draw the chariot itself, or a character mounted upon the chariot. Missile weapons mounted on a chariot or howdahs are shot by the crew using their ballistic skill. How is that different to what you asked before? Because that sounds about the same. Missile weapons mounted on chariots are shot by the crew using their ballistic skill. Sorry. So what's the difference? Some chariots are equipped with large-scale missiles. Bolt throwers. Who shoots such weapons? The crew, the beast that draw the chariot itself, or the character mounted. The crew, the beast that draw the chariot, or the chariot itself. Okay, so it's added the character mounted upon the chariot. I mean, we kind of presumed that was the case anyway. I think everybody played it like that, but it's a clarification. It's an amendment. It's not changed. So they've just added an extra bit of wording to provide a little bit more clarity. So I think that's fine. That sounds pretty good. I don't mind that. Okay, next one. We're into combat. Okay, if a unit with oppressive battle rule has not yet fought, models from the end of the first fighting rank will close in, as described on page 150, into base contact with the enemy. But can models from the second fighting rank step forward into base contact and fight immediately? Yes, as stated on page 150, models cannot fight during a phase in which they step forward into the fighting rank. However, models already in the fighting rank can step forward and close in as described, maximizing their number of attacks. Okay, so let me just read that again. If a unit with a press of battle has not yet fought, models from the end of the fighting rank will close in. Yeah, fine. But can models from the second fighting rank step forward into base contact and fight immediately? Yes. Models already in the fighting rank can step forward and close in as described, maximizing their attacks. Is that any different to what it's been before? The step forward thing is a little bit murky, to be fair. So I think this is just clarifying that's how it works. In my head, that's how I've been playing it. So I don't know if it's just genuinely a complicated interaction, which it is, and they're clarifying it, which is fine. I'm totally up for that. That's cool. No issues. Chat, am I missing something? Is this pretty much the same as everybody's been playing it, right? Okay, next question. Does press of battle apply to a unit's flank and rear arcs, or just to its front? If a unit has and is able to use a press of battle rule, it can do so regardless of which of its arcs the enemy is engaged with. Ah, Jesus. Okay. Fine. However, this is shitting on the martial prowess special rule from High Elves, I believe, unless I'm wrong. Martial prowess. With this special can make supporting attacks to its flank, rear, as well to the front. Yeah, so essentially, now everybody has it. So that's yet another elf rule that they've destroyed. Every FAQ that they release kills the elves a little bit more. I hope that there's something else in there for the elves. Please, I really want to play high elves. I just want them to be usable. Although I did take Seaguard this past weekend and I did have fun. They did all right. That was quite good. Right, let me just have a little look through the chat. Yeah, we've got quite a few of you on here tonight. Excellent. Okay, let's have a little look. Character on let's just chat through this one. Character on a Skycutter would shoot the bolter. Yeah, that was what I was hoping it would be, because Skycutter's pants, man. Anything to make them better would have been good. That would have been good. Losing your attacks. Second fighting rank, first fighting rank. Yeah, I think this one, two hands, that's yeah, Confac interpretations. Confac, I mean, let's be honest, they mean well. I was part of the Confac team for a long time. It's a big task to undertake that there's a lot of people that you have to try and find common ground on. So they did their best. To attack infantry, get their fight in 2 ranks. Interesting. Okay, fair enough. Fine. Let's crack on. What else we got? If 2 units are engaged across a low linear obstacle, we have a low linear obstacle question. I love it. If 2 units are engaged across a low linear obstacle, are they limited to making just a single attack because they aren't in base contact? No. Yes. Whilst a charging unit will become disordered, and whilst impact hits and stomp attacks cannot be made due to the presence of the obstacle, units are otherwise able to fight normally across a low linear obstacle as if they were in base contact. Yes, this is what we wanted. Yes, this was one of the probably top 3 bugbears of mine. This is the low linear obstacle interaction is the reason I don't have walls in any of my events. Didn't have it at Six Nations, didn't have it at previous Pash Hammer events. I just hate low linear obstacles because the rules were so murky. And now it's clear that even though you're not in base to base, you still get your full attacks. This is significant. This is probably the first one that I've read so far that is significant and has significant sort of changes. Essentially, if you throw a dragon at something that's entrenched, it will still be able to do all of its attacks, just not the stomp or like impact hits if it has impact hits, which is fine. So that is significant. I wonder how that hampers dwarves, because I feel like the dig in entrench thing is sort of like one of their main tactics, if you can call it a tactic. Okay, significant. I'm going to put that down as one of the most significant changes I've seen so far. Okay, next one. A pursuing unit must move directly toward the fleeing enemy, but must it move forward whilst doing so, or can it move sideways? As stated on this page, units must move forward unless performing a maneuver or when giving ground. This includes whilst pursuing. Must move directly towards the fleeing enemy, but must it move forward while doing so? Move sideways. Hold on. A pursuing must move directly towards fleeing enemy, but must it move forward while doing so, or can move sideways? Or when giving ground. This includes while pursuing. All right, okay. I don't really understand how that works. I thought this meant, like, say for example, something gives ground and you, like, you're engaged on the side and then you have to move sideways, but this says or when giving ground. So I don't feel like this changed anything. Does this mean you can't pursue sideways? But anyway, I don't know what that means. As in, I don't see how that changes anything. Okay, if a unit has to pivot before fleeing from an enemy it is engaged in combat with, must it make peril tests? No, as stated on this page, ignore other units while pivoting. Does it? Ignore other units while pivoting. I am just going to double check that. Pivoting. Sometimes the rules are required to pivot about center. The unit is not performing any of the maneuvers. Instead, it spins on a spot, ignoring the presence of other units or terrain while it does so. That's interesting. Because the only reason I highlight this is I've been playing it that, well, a lot of people have been playing it that when you pivot during a flee, if you pivot over an enemy unit, you take peril tests. This says you don't, at least not from the unit that you are running away from. Okay, that might need a little bit more thinking, but okay, that's fine. Again, I think that's generally a positive change. So let's crack on. I don't want to drag this out too long. I appreciate you folks have got places to be. And there's still a raffle draw for these amazing magic cards, by the way. I haven't forgotten about that. So that's on the books for later. Stick around for that. Okay, let's have a look at this. Are we on this one? Challenges. If a character is within one fighting rank, they cannot move through the ranks to join another. Yes. Might this prevent them from accepting a challenge? No. Okay. If a character is eligible to accept a challenge, they can do so wherever they are in a unit and will move through the ranks into base contact with their opponent. However, if it's awkward to move the model, it's quite acceptable for players to agree it has moved and fight the challenges if the combatants were in base contact, thus avoiding much disruption. Oh, interesting. If a character is within one fighting rank, they cannot move through another. Might this prevent them accepting challenges? No. If a character is eligible to accept a challenge, they can do so wherever they are in a unit and will move through the ranks into base contact with their opponent. Oh, that's a change. If it's awkward to move the model, blah, blah, blah. So the way that FAQ is worded suggests that if, for example, you have a massive unit of gore, right? Beastmen, gore, and then you have a beast lord in it with all the choppy weapons and everything. If he's at the front and you engage it on the front, but then you also engage it at the side and you're trying to challenge on that side and the side that the beast lord is not on, that suggests that he can accept the challenge even though he's not in the same fighting rank as the model that is issuing the challenge. That's how that reads to me, and that is a change. That gives an advantage to basically beefy characters and units. They can just protect the unit on any flank, front, or anything else, which I'm not a massive fan of, I'll be 100% honest, but I guess it's a choice. Maybe that's what it is. Let's have a little look. Just looking through the comments, folks, tweaking the points, supporting Battle March, etc., etc. Interesting. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Probably a good time to mention, folks. Just going to take this a little drink break. Non-advertisement. If you could like this stream, this would be great. Subscribe if you haven't already. Yeah, I appreciate it. Just raises awareness to other people. I do try and put out content on a regular basis, almost daily, really, even just something useful. So yeah, do the usual YouTube thing, like, subscribe, and all that jazz. And yeah, that'll be appreciated. Okay, let's crack on. Universal special rules. Does placing a unit of ambushers into reserve count as deploying a unit? No. I mean, that's fine. Nobody's ever counted it as that. Only weird people have. So that's actually no change to how it's played. When are ambushers placed into reserve, and when is this declared? If your army includes any ambushers that you wish to hold in reserve, set those units aside before deployment begins. Ugh, that's annoying. Making it clear to your opponent that they are ambushers and will be held in reserve rather than deployed with the rest of your army. Okay. So the way I've seen that played at the moment is essentially that you don't declare that they're ambushing until it's the turn of that unit to be deployed. And then you go, right, I'm not going to deploy these guys. I'm going to put them into ambush. That's how I've seen people play it. It's how I've played it. That seems to be how it's played at competitive levels. However, this clarifies that you have to declare that they're ambushing at the beginning of the deployment, which is fine. That's not a negative thing. But it's not how it's been played at a number of events. So fine. It's a choice. Can a drilled unit redress the ranks before making a countercharge reaction? Yes. But I mean, again, that's how everybody's been playing it. I say everybody. I am making assumptions. I mean, somebody's clearly asked this question. And I guess I am coming into this with a head of somebody who plays at a lot of tournaments and plays against, other top quality players. And these maneuvers are all fairly known for that crowd, but I appreciate not everybody's like that. So yeah, this is good that it's there. It's good that it's clarified, but this is not a change to how it's been played at a lot of events. So not a problem. Can an evasive unit use that special rule whilst engaged in combat or fleeing? No, I don't feel like that's any different to how it's been done before. So let me just have a look. Oh. So why is it now blue? Can an evasive unit engage in combat or whilst fleeing? Oh, so they've added the whilst fleeing. Okay, fine. I mean, okay. Nobody cares. If a model has Killing Blow or Monster Slayer, does a roll to wound of a natural 6 cause an enemy to lose all of its remaining wounds, even if the enemy would normally be too tough to wound? No, if a model cannot wound an enemy, it cannot kill it. Okay, if a model has Killing Blow or Monster Slayer, does a roll to wound of a natural 6 cause an enemy to lose all of its remaining wounds, even if the enemy would normally be too tough to wound? So essentially, is this saying if you have like a Strength 1 Monster Slayer attack versus a Toughness 7 monster that you cannot monster kill it, slay it, whatever? Okay, that's a clarification. I've never seen it come up. I'm wondering where this has come from. All right, it is what it is. Okay, next. Left-hand side. Does a unit with move through cover discard the highest dice when making a charge roll, charging through terrain? No. Okay. Okay. This is a good quality of life improvement. This is something that's been a bit of a bugbear for pretty much everybody since the beginning of edition, where you have moved through cover, but you're not actually that much better moving through cover. So this shows that they're making that work the way that you intuitively think it should work. Yeah, positive. I really like that, actually, just from a quality of life improvement. It makes sense. Okay, can a model make more regeneration saves than it has wounds remaining on this profile? No. When a model makes regen saves, it makes one save for each wound lost. Can a model make more regen saves than it has remaining on its profile? When a model makes regen saves, it makes one save for each wound lost. Okay. Okay. So what I thought that meant is that essentially, let's say you shoot a skeleton warrior with a multi-wound weapon like a cannon, and you do like 3 wounds to it. This says, can it make more saves than it has wounds? And it says no, which means that you would essentially, if you roll the first one and it dies, then the skeleton dies, which is fine. It makes one save for each wound lost. Okay, but I'm not actually. Does this the confusion that I've got is basically, Are you rolling these individually? Am I rolling essentially one dice after the other to see if they're dead, or am I rolling all three and then seeing if any of them are failed and then they die? I guess it's more of an issue in combat when you've got combat res than it is against shooting. So I appreciate maybe the shooting example is not the best, but this doesn't seem to improve the interaction of having to roll regeneration saves one after the other. Yeah, fair enough. Weird. Okie dokie. Let's have a look at the next one. If a unit of scouts is deployed completely within my deployment zone, can they be deployed within 12 of the enemy, and can they charge in the first turn? No, regardless of where they're played, a unit deployed as scouts must abide with the rules of deploying as scouts. Fine. Essentially, this is if your opponent has scouts and you have scouts and they deploy theirs very close or within your deployment zone, you cannot then deploy your scouts closer than 12 inches to it. Not a problem. If a stubborn character joins a unit that is not stubborn and that unit loses its first combat of the game, does the character remain stubborn until they have an opportunity to make use of the rule later on? No, stubborn is used the first time the unit loses combat. If a character is unable to use the rule due to being part of a unit that is not stubborn, the opportunity is lost. Okay, fine. This essentially says that it's used up the first failed or the first time you lose combat, no matter if it triggers the stubborn ability or not, but it definitely is used up, so that's fine. All right, what we got next? Unusual formations. Do skirmishers have flanks or rear arcs whilst engaged in combat? Well, skirmishers do form up when engaged in combat. They are not considered to have flank or rear arcs for the purposes of calculating combat result points. Yeah, it's fine. I don't feel like... Okay, yeah, that's how it's played. Not a problem. Don't care. When a unit of skirmishers becomes engaged in combat and forms up, must any command groups contained be placed in the fighting rank? Yes. Again, fine. That's sort of... skirmishers don't tend to have a lot of command anyway. You'll probably have like a champion, maybe a standard bearer, if they're like peasant bowmen or something and there's a reason to take it. Probably not. Maybe a musician, but you rarely see a lot of command outside of a champion, so I don't think that's going to come up very much. Nothing on this side. A fighting rank cannot contain more characters in it than it does rank and file models. In the case of a unit with a press of battle rule, does this include rank and file models in the second fighting rank? Oh, geez. A fighting rank cannot contain more characters than it does rank and file models. Okay, I'm with you now. In the case of a unit with a press of battle rule, does this include rank and file models in the second fighting rank? Ah, okay, I'm with you now. No. No single fighting rank can contain more characters than it does rank and file models. It doesn't matter how many fighting ranks a unit might have. Ah, okay. So this is where it mentions the second fighting rank, which I've either just completely glanced over this before or I've not seen it being referenced before, the second fighting rank. But okay, essentially what this says is, let's say I have 5 models in the front rank and 5 models in the second fighting rank, whatever. Can I count all 10 in order to be able to have characters in it? And they say no. No, that's fine. If a character is in any rank of a unit other than the front rank or the first fighting rank in the case of a unit engaged in combat for any reason, do they confer any bonuses onto the unit? No, not unless they have a special rule stating otherwise. Characters must lead from the front or retire to the rear. Okay, I am going to look that up to see what the difference was before, because that is not insignificant. Oh, they've actually changed the full wording of it. Do they confer bonuses onto the units? I think that's the key phrase. Don't know about you, but you tend to get good at looking for these. If a character is in the back rank due to not being enough space, do they confer any bonuses? Unless they have a special rule saying no. Okay, so they've just reworded that a little bit more to be clear that basically, unless you have a special rule, and the only one that I can really think of is like Skaven with their lead from the back thing, characters do not confer any bonuses onto the unit. So no leadership, no BSB, no magic resistance, no spells, no nothing. Essentially, if the character's not in the front, they're not in the unit. That's sort of how this is suggested to me. That's something. It stops Death Stars, and I think that can only be a positive. Like, I don't think people will begrudge you not having Death Stars in the game. So yeah, fine. Okay. Can my unit shoot at an enemy character that's within 3 of an enemy unit if that unit is not itself an eligible target? No. If the requirements given are met, the character cannot be targeted. Ah, okay. This is actually counter to a community and FAQ question, which is interesting because essentially what has happened before is, say, for example, you have a character, an infantry character, and an infantry unit. If you were to charge the infantry unit, it's no longer an eligible target to be targeted for shooting with magic missiles or, whatever. So the argument was that you can now target the character because they are now the closest eligible enemy unit. And this says categorically that no, if they were not eligible before, they're not eligible after that unit is contacted. So don't try that, which is fine. I'm happy with that being the case. Okie dokie. Let's have a look. Let's have a little look. So, can a character that has joined a unit be the target of a spell that would give them a special rule that prevents them from joining units, such as Ethereal? No. If casting a spell would cause a situation the rules specifically prohibit, the spell cannot be cast. Oh, that's different to what it was before. It used to be if you, say, for example, you were made Ethereal, you would stay Ethereal and then you leave the unit, but then you can rejoin the unit. But this categorically says that just the spell just doesn't work. Cool. I'm happy with that. It's not a lot of spells that this affects, but maybe there's some sort of niche changes that I'm not aware of. Weird. All right. Let us have a little look and see what else have changed. Some characters have special abilities that require a leadership test. If character is slain, do these abilities cease to apply immediately like a spell? Yes. So I guess this is for things like Crown of, is it Crown of Command? The basically undead things that give you extra weapon skill and stuff like that. Does it stop as soon as the character dies? It makes sense that it does. They've clarified that it does. I'm happy with that. I mean, anything that makes the game more, more immersive and just play like you think it should be played, like sensibly, then I'm happy with that. No problems. Right. War machines. When shooting a cannon, a cannon question. When shooting a cannon, a line of sight is required to the target point, but what about the strike point? A cannon does not require a line of sight to the strike point. Okie dokie. However, if anything that would stop a cannonball from bouncing, such as crunch, lies between the target point and the strike point, the cannonball will hit it and stop. In other words, you cannot use a high result on the artillery dice to glitch a cannonball through impregnable obstacle. It's very wordy. Okay, let me just make sure I understand that. When shooting a cannon, the line of sight is required to the target point. Okay. So if I were trying to shoot at a dragon hiding behind a hill and I can only see the front of the hill, that's the target point. A cannon does not require line of sight to the strike point. The strike point is where the cannonball lands once I roll the artillery dice. However, if anything that would stop a cannonball from bouncing lies between the target point and the strike point, like the cannonball, will hit and stop. In other words, you cannot bounce it over. Okay, so this is actually quite good. I like this. Essentially, this is a problem that we've had. Some people don't think this is a problem. I think it's a immersive problem, and it's called cannonball trick shots. Essentially, if you have a valuable model that's hiding behind, say, a hill or a piece of impassable terrain or anything like that, previously you were able to target the front of that terrain, hoping to roll high and then lob a cannonball over the building or something and hit the dragon behind it, which was quite not very immersive. It was quite a stupid thing. So I'm glad that they've clarified you cannot do that, and I'm more than happy for that to be in the game. Even though I appreciate not everybody loves big monsters, and why don't you? Because they are awesome. Yeah, I think that's not a problem. I think that's pretty good. Okay. What else have we got? Can a cannon that is on a hill target a point on the ground if woods, a building, or a hill lies between it and that point? No, a cannon cannot shoot over such obstacles, even if it's on a hill. However, a stone thrower can if it chooses to fire indirectly. Okay. Can a cannon that is on a hill target a point on the ground if woods or a building lies between it and the point? says no. It cannot shoot over those obstacles. Interesting. Okay. It's funny how they mention woods there, because woods don't stop cannonballs, but it looks like... Oh, okay, I'm with you now. So essentially, woods, hills, buildings, all of those things are infinitely high. That's what it's saying. And you cannot shoot beyond it. Like, even being on a hill, the hills are not infinitely high. And being on a hill doesn't mean you can see beyond terrain pieces. Cool, that's fine. I'm happy with that. Battlefield terrain. To defend a low linear obstacle, another LLO question, a unit must move its front rank into base contact with it. Are skirmishers able to do this, or do their lack of ranks prevent it? Skirmishers can defend a low linear obstacle. To do so, simply move as many skirmishers as possible into base contact with one side of the feature. Fine. Yeah, there was a whole thing about skirmishers not having like ranks and facings and everything else. So I think this is just clarifying that, yeah, it totally makes sense that they can defend it, right? Don't worry about it too much. That's the message. Okay, fine. What's next? Warhammer armies. When does a detachment determine which arc of an enemy unit will charge when to making a supporting charge? When it is moved at the end of the charge move subphase. Yeah, that's fine. I mean, first of all, nobody uses a detachment, so this will never come up. But if you do happen to use detachments, you can charge the flank of an enemy unit that has charged your main unit. It's how it should work, but again, it's not going to come up because nobody uses the detachments, because all detachment units are pretty pants. Unfortunately, I was hoping they would do a little bit more with that, but we haven't got to the army special rule. Maybe they've changed some of the special rule. I really hope they have. Okay, what are we on now? Laws of Magic. While Drain Magic is in play, does it increase the casting value of bound spells? Yes. Was that a question before? Drain Magic. Drain Magic. Remains in play whilst the spell is in play. Enemy wizards that are within 24 of the caster when they're attempting to cast a spell must increase the spell's casting value by 2. Okay, so this is interesting because this is different to how it worked before. Because this Drain Magic specifically mentions enemy wizards. So say, for example, I have a high elf noble with the ring, or the ruby ring of ruin, with a fireball spell. He's not a wizard. So before, Drain Magic would not have increased the casting value of Fireball for that guy. But this FAQ now says that, yeah, it does. So basically, no matter whether you're a wizard or not, any spell within the Drain Magic aura is now affected, which I'm totally fine with, because I think that gives high elves a bit of a boost and they need it. So yeah, fine. Unfortunately, this also boosts Cathay, at least the Cathay list that I've been running. So I don't think it's a net benefit to the game, but hey ho. Magic items. Can a character replace the armor with which they come equipped with a lighter magical armor in order to bypass restrictions imposed on other upgrades? A character can replace one type of armor with another. However, for the purposes of any available upgrades that are restricted based on the type of armor worn, the character is still considered to be wearing the armor they come equipped with. Okay, can a character replace the armor which they come equipped with a lighter magical... Oh, so essentially, if you come with like heavy armor, can you then choose to have magical light armor? And this says you have both, which is fine. That's sort of how it's been played. Again, clarifying it, but not really something that anyone asked, I'll be honest. For the purpose of other upgrades, what type of armor are the armor of silvered steel and the armor of meteoric iron? Ah, okay. If a suit of magical armor gives an armor value of 6, it should be considered light armor. If it gives an armor of 5, it should be considered heavy. If it gives 4 or better, it should be considered full plate armor. The reason this is here is because of those bloody chaos players who have been saying that armor of meteoric iron doesn't count as heavy armor because it doesn't say heavy armor in its profile. And they've been able to take it with some of their special abilities, which could categorically say not on a model with heavy armor. So this closes that loophole, which I'm totally fine with, because again, it feels like it was just a workaround. It felt like a loophole that has now been closed. So totally fine. Next one. Does a weapon's AP reduce the armor value of meteoric iron? No. I mean, it's fairly obvious, but okay. I'll be honest. The amount of fairly obvious questions here have not been very, it's not been abundant. Sometimes some of the questions you're like, who's asked this? This is one of those questions, unfortunately, where it's like, really? You really think that that's not how it works? But I guess they clarified the heavy armor thing, so I'll give them a gimme. All right, what we got next? We have the match play guide. Okay. Okay, sorry, I'm excited because I've seen this blue note. So if a unit is limited to 0 to 3 per specific type of character, 0 to 3 per 1,000 points, how many such units can I field in a 2,000 point army at an event using combined army composition? You can field up to 3 per character in the first example, up to 6 in total in the second example. Combined arms composition rules only restrict units with no other restriction on them. If a unit has any form of restriction, that takes precedence. This next bit's significant because it says, note, however, that +1 is not a restriction, it's a minimum requirement. That was my argument all along. So this is the argument that basically we've had in the UK community with those that are not local, where basically they said, oh, it's a +1. That means I can take 100 paladins in a Bretonian army. I can take, lots and lots of, God, what else is a +1? Tomb King chariots. I can take like loads and loads of like slayers and stuff in a slayer army, which, no, that makes sense. But Doom slayers? Bad example. I don't know that one very well. But the rest is my point is, I've always argued that +1 is not a restriction. It's a minimum requirement because that's just how, to me, it makes sense. They've clarified that here. So I feel vindicated. I'm glad I no longer need to make that caveat in comp packs because I'll be honest, that was always a pain in the arse. So yes, happy days. Very happy with that change. Fantastic. Next one. When using domination as a secondary objective, do you get victory points for having more than double the enemy's unit strength in a table quarter if there are no enemy models in that quarter? No. To be more than double the enemy's unit strength, the enemy has to have some models in the quarter. If they have none, you gain the VP for that bonus. If they have none, you gain the VP bonus for that achievement instead. Oh, okay. Well, that's fine. Who's asked that? Be honest. Who asked that question? So, I mean, if there's no enemy in that table quarter, you don't double that number 0. It's an uncontested quarter. Fine. Okay, and that's it. That is the main FAQ. That was a big one. How many pages? 20 pages. That was significant. Okay. So I'm expecting that to be the bulk of the changes. I'm guessing the rest of them will be army specific things, which I am actually really excited about, and I won't dilly dally too long. I appreciate you guys have places to be. But first thoughts. There's some really nice changes in there. I like the LLO change. The you must always make a save that you have is quite good. There's a number of improvements and clarifications that I think genuinely make the game smoother and better so far. Meteoric Iron thing is good. The Cannonball thing is good because it just stops a number of what felt like gamey abused rules, but they were strictly raw, but they just make, they had a feels bad moment where people didn't really enjoy finding that out. Like if you brought a new person to a tournament and they realized that hiding their dragon behind a hill did not protect them from massive bombardments of cannonballs, it would feel a little bit stupid. But here they've tightened that up. The LLO thing, massive quality of life improvement. A bunch of, who ask those type of questions, but that's fine. I will give them that in order to, have the rest of them. So that's totally fine. Any chat from you guys? I'm just wondering if I've missed anything. There's a lot of you guys here, which is fantastic. Thank you very much, first of all, for spending your, Tuesday evening here with me, or Tuesday morning, wherever you are. It might not even be Tuesday. So thank you, first of all. Big thumbs up for you guys. And yeah, I have seen a few chats, but I struggle to keep up with it, I'll be honest, because there's so many of you and you're all asking very valid questions. So if you have answered, if you put a question in the comments and I haven't seen it, please, ask it again. Or if you're watching this after it's gone live, please stick it in the comments section. I will get back to you. I think there's a lot to digest here. I'm still very much soaking it all in. So, right, let's crack on with the next bit, eh? Right. Ravening Hordes. Wow. This is a lot of changes. Okay, the bad guys, essentially. Okay, well, we got Orc mobs, add Furious Charge to a list of special rules. Okay, cool. Hold on. Now, those of you who have been subscribed for a while, do you remember that episode I did of 3 changes that I would love to see in Warhammer? And how, like, for each army, I came up with like 2 or 3 things that I thought would really improve the army, make it a bit more themed or a bit more interesting. Pretty sure Furious Charge on Orcs was one of them. I'll stick the link here for those of you who are watching this later, but I think I'm going to claim that one as one that I gave them. Goblin and Boss changed the initiative characteristic to 3. Okay, fine, whatever. It's gone down, I'm guessing. Maybe it's gone up. Don't care. Death of a Fanatic changed the rule as follows. Enemy units cannot charge a Fanatic or otherwise attempt to engage a Fanatic in combat. However, a Fanatic can be targeted by enemy shooting as if it were a lone character. Ooh, if a Fanatic finds itself lying fully or partially underneath a template, it risks being hit as normal. That's fine. Should a Fanatic move into another Fanatic, they become entangled and both are removed as casualties. Fine. If any natural double is rolled, or if it's moved into contact with any difficult, dangerous, or impassable, or any type of linear obstacle, comes to a terminal stop and is removed as a casualty. Finally, if a concealing unit is destroyed or flees the battlefield before its Fanatics have been released, they're also removed as casualties. Okay. That's very wordy, but all good things. So essentially, this brings back the ability to interact with Fanatics on the board, which was always a pain in the arse because at the moment they're these little flying, like whirling death balls that nobody can do anything about. But the most important bit of this whole entire bit is the fact that you can target it by enemy shooting as if it were a lone character. That's the most important bit. Essentially, you can ping off a wound of a Fanatic and kill it. You can bait them out, and then you can shoot them with like arrows and stuff. That is significant. I'm glad. Happy days. Yes, Fanatics are a bit of a pain in the arse, especially I faced 12 of them at the weekend. And they were just no end of bother, and it took ages to resolve any of it. So I'm glad that that's no longer going to be quite as dominant. Okay, trolls. Common trolls change the leadership to 6 and the points to 39. Right, I'm going to need to know what trolls do, as in what they were before. Troll mob. Initiative is 2 at the moment. Leadership, that's what we're looking for. Leadership 4. Okay. And it's changing it to 6. What is the points value of a common troll? I'm going to have to... I use new recruit for my list builder. I know everybody else does different, but I'm just going to quickly find out what... Orcs and Goblins, where are you? Orcs and Goblins are on Troll Horde. Test list, open war. Okay, so common trolls. Is that what we're looking at now? We're looking at common trolls. Okay. Common trolls are 41 points each, and they are going down to 39. 2 points cheaper. Fine. Nice. River trolls. Change leadership to 6 points to 47. River trolls, 2 points down, leadership to 6. They are leadership 4. Yeah, okay. Increasing the leadership for them. Stone trolls, leadership changed to 7 and the points to 43. Stone trolls, yeah, 2 points reduction in leadership to 7. Is that what it said? Okay, so basically across the board, all trolls in the troll mobs seem to have increased leadership by at least 2 points. No, in fact, 2 points exactly, and reduced their cost individually by 2 points. That's good. Anything to make trolls, which are really fun themed army. I know exactly who will be very happy about that. I'll bet you Amy's dancing right now. Oh yeah, there she is. Yeah, I can imagine you'd be very happy about that, Amy. Your troll, finally, justice for trolls, not tools. Very, very different type of troll. But yes, these trolls are now going to be seen a bit more on the board. Great. I'm happy with that. Very, very happy. Next one, Giants change the toughness to 7. That's different. Now, I mean, I come from a time when Giants used to be toughness 5 and they were just terrible. Then they made them toughness 6 in Old World, and that made them better, but still rarely seen. Now they're toughness 7. Hopefully we'll see more of them. That's great. So yeah, More than happy with that. It doesn't change the cost, but makes them toughness 7. Fantastic. That should make them a lot more survivable, or somewhat more survivable. Toughness 7 is significant. Trollhead trousers, delete. Delete super common. Thank God. Yeah, okay, I'm glad with that, because to be honest, that was a pain in the arse, especially for those double wyvern lists, and you saw them, and yeah, I'm happy for them to not be super common. So that's fine. That's very, very happy. Okay, next one. We're still... Demon Prince. Demon Prince, change the wound characteristic to 5 and it's stripped out to monstrous creature character. Then add stomp attacks D3 to the special rules. Okay. Okay, Demon Princes. Now let me just have a little look and see about Demon Princes. Let's create a Demon Prince. Warriors of Chaos, right? Warriors of Chaos. Create a list. Demon Princes were 4 wounds, yeah. Yeah, that was always a bit of a pain in the arse. So now they're 5 wounds. That's great. Monstrous creature is not insignificant, because now they can't be killing blowed with just like a killing blow weapon, which is always embarrassing. They are also stomp D3 plus 1. Stomp D3 plus 1. That is actually quite significant. Stomp D3 plus 1 at strength 6. Now it doesn't have AP value, but it's not nothing. That will increase when you increase the strength of it, when you roll on the Gaze of the Gods. Okay, yeah, I like that. Demon Princes are getting a boost. I'm more than happy with that. Demon Princes are quite cool. Like, they're just a cool unit. It is very underutilized. The 4 wounds thing's always felt painful, because essentially 1 cannonball and they're dead. Them being a monstrous creature is both good and bad, because before you can target them if they're within like 3 inches of an infantry unit, but now you can. However, not a problem, because I think overall the benefits of being a monstrous creature and an extra wound and stomp attacks makes that all much better. So yeah, hooray for Demon Princes. Okay, Demonic Mount, add barding to the equipment and countercharge to the list of special rules. Was it not countercharge before? No, maybe not. Let's have another look at that Demonic Mount. Demonic Mount. Let's have a look. Chaos Lord with Demonic Mount. Come on, dear Chaos Lord. Show me the goods. Mount. Demonic. Armor, Bane, Fear, Magical Attack, Swift Strike, Stomp categories. Yeah, so it didn't have barded. So that was always so that was always the trade-off. Was that you get an extra wound and you have slightly better attacks from your mount, but you don't get the better armor save. So essentially, your Chaos Lord that's on a Demonic Mount would have had full plate and a shield usually. So that would be like a 3-up armor save. But now, because they're barded, you would get a better armor save, which is great. I think that's a benefit. Countercharge is also useful, because it now means it makes the Demonic Mount a much better upgrade than the Chaos Steed, which is a bit of a shame for the Chaos Steed, because all it really does is just makes it a cheaper mount, but not really different in any way. So, but yeah, fine. I'm more than happy for the Chaos Fun Bus to be back again. Chaos Warriors, add Chaos Armor 6 and Furious Charge. Ooh, that's quite good. Okay, that changes things, because so Chaos Armor 6 is a ward save of 6-up standard, and Furious Charge. Now, I don't know how much they'll be charging, I'll be honest, but I like them having an innate ward save. I think that's a big plus, and all of that happens without changing the cost of them, which is fantastic. Furious Charge is great. It looks like they've been quite generous with Furious Charge, because I can see that here. Chosen Chaos Warriors, add Furious Charge to the list of special rules. Oh yeah, what's the difference between Chosen and normal Chaos Warriors now? So just extra weapon skill, extra attack, and not core. Is that what it is? Okay. Positive. I like it. That might actually make Chaos Warriors worth taking, now that they've got these cool new models as well. I don't remember seeing that in the core rulebook, little pamphlet thing that you had, which had the all the stats of the army and stuff like that. So that feels like something that they've added since then. I don't know if that's the case. In which case, is this an errata after rules have been released? Oh, interesting. Sorry, I'm just catching up on the chat there, and I'm seeing that you folk are actually mentioning about mentioning no 360 line of sight. Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting, actually. No 360 line of sight is not insignificant. The other thing is they don't have Swiss Stride when they have flying, so like they're never as an amazing model, but I still think they're more viable than they were before. Just sheerly more survivable. One extra wound makes a big difference on that. So I'm still positive on the Demon Prince part. I'm even more positive on the Chaos Warriors. I think that's actually really good. Chaos Ogres change points to 31. What were Chaos Ogres before? I don't think I've ever seen anyone take Chaos Ogres. Is that the 33 points before? So what? Yeah, 33 before, and now they are 31. So 2 points cheaper. Fine, no worries. I don't know if that will make me take them. Chaos Trolls, change leadership to 6, point to 39, change the option to take one of the following as follows. Any model in the unit may take one of the following. Okay. Oh, and they're Motley Crew. Okay. So Chaos Trolls are... Okay, that's actually not too bad. Chaos Trolls. And you can have them... Oh, you can have them in like little cool units. One with a great weapon, two with a great weapon, whatever else. And they've made them a little bit cheaper. Is that what it is? Leadership 6, 39 points. Chaos Trolls. Now, I'm wondering, you could take individual Chaos Trolls, right? Special, and it's a single. So you made them cheaper, right? You've made them 39 points. Okay. So for 39 points, for 39 plus a great weapon is a... Oh my God. 33 points, right? 43 points. For 43 points, you have a drop that is not terrible. I mean, it's leadership 6, stupid, strength 7. It's like a budget Dragon Ogre. I think that's kind of cool. I don't hate that. That's an option. Fine. Chaos Knight, add Chaos Armor 6 and countercharge. Yes. Oh, hold on. They had countercharge before in the last FAQ, but Chaos Armor 6 is good. So word save for Chaos Knights. Great. They need it, to be honest. They're very expensive and not amazing. God, this is making me think about taking the Chaos Fun Bus again. This is interesting. This is making me excited about Chaos, actually. Okay. Chaos Chosen Knights, unit size to 3. I think they were 4 before. Chaos Chosen Knights. They were 4 before. So you can have them units of 3, which is kind of cool. Yeah, that's kind of cool. I don't hate that. I think that's not irrelevant. Chaos Dragon, change the base size as follows. Okay. So we sort of suspected this was going to be the case. So now it looks like they're moving towards having behemoths or dragons and things like that on the larger bases, like the Terrorgeist base, the Tombgang Dragon base, the big base, and add Impetuous to the list of special rules. It was Impetuous before, right? Yeah, but it's changing the base size now. That makes sense because they're releasing this new Chaos Dragon, and it'll be that size. So, let's just get used to behemoths being that size. So yeah, that's definitely not too bad. Chimera, change the wounds characteristic to 5 and the points to 170. Then replace Stomp 1 with Stomp D3. Ooh, Chimera is a little sad beast that we have not seen very much. Let me see. Chimera. Okay, so they made it 10 points cheaper. And I think it was wounds 4. Yeah, so now it's wounds 5 and Stomp D3 at strength 6. Okay. I mean, a significant change from wounds 4 to 5, right? Anything that can't be killed with one cannonball is good, right? So I think that's quite good. I think you might start seeing a bit more chimeras. I mean, 170 points, you probably want regen on it. Regen. So I guess 185 points, you have a toughness 5, 5 wounds, 5 up armor, 5 up regen. Yeah, it's not terrible. Causes terror. Yeah, it flies, right? Flies, right? Large target, swift stride, fly 10. Yeah, a nice little, so 185 points for a nice little terror causer that can do a little bit of damage. Yeah, you can start seeing a bit of a monster mash theme develop in Chaos, and I don't hate it. I think that's interesting. I think that's worth exploring. Might have to get myself a wee Chimera. Okay, what else have we got? We're into the Bestie Gores now. Bestie Gore, add Furious Charge to the list of special rules. Okay, so everything's getting Furious Charge now, which is fine. I actually think anything like infantry need a boost still, like to make and give them an incentive to actually charge. That was the biggest issue that I had, is that two units of infantry were just in a standoff because the one didn't want to charge because it would get fewer attacks and often lose combat against the opponent who just stood and poked him with sharp sticks. So yeah, I think this is great. I think this should almost be a universal special rule, and maybe it could have been, but hey ho, we'll give him a pass on that. Furious Charge and Gore, that's fine. Dragon Ogres, change the points to 59. Oh, I'm guessing that's gone up. Dragon Ogres. I'm going to have to. All right, Beastmen. Let's create a Beastmen list. Beastmen. Let's have a look. All right, Dragon Ogres. Dragon Ogres. We're 59. What are they now? Oh, they're still 59. And unit size 2 to 9. Ah, okay, 2 to 9. So the difference here is you no longer are able to take single Shartax running around being like a mini hero type character who was able to like take some magic items and just run around and just be a pain in the arse. That's no longer the case. You need to take them in unit size 2, which is fine. I think that again is a positive change. I'll take that given all the other buffs that they've given to Chaos. I think that's not too bad. Sorry, I say Chaos. I mean, like, Dragon Ogres will be in the Warriors of Chaos army, as well as, obviously, I guess, Beastmen. Or maybe in the same army soon when they come out with a new March of Chaos Arcane General. Okay. Okay, kind of cool. I like it. Yeah, don't mind that. Jabba Slythe, change the weapon skill characteristics to 5 and 185. All right, I'm guessing Jabba was a pretty terrible thing before. I've rarely seen them. Jabba Slythe, what is your quest? Jabba Slythe weapon skills gone up by 1, and you have the points changed to 185 from what's the Jabba Slythe? 195. So 10 points cheaper, extra weapon skill, fine, not a problem. Cockatrice, change points to 155. Cockatrice, again, a rare beast that was hardly ever seen. 155 from 170. That's a reduction of 15 points. That is not nothing. Decent. 155. That's actually not bad for a wee. It's 4 wounds, but yeah, that's not bad. Okay. Change the toughness of a Cygor to 6 and the points to 205. Cygor. So it's 10 points cheaper. And the toughness to 6, it was 5? Yeah, so it's increased the toughness. Okay, so they're making beasts tougher. Not a bad thing. I quite like it, making more survivable. And a whole, what is it, 15 points cheaper? Cygor. 10 points cheaper. 10 points cheaper, Cygor. Cool. Chaos Giant changed toughness to 7 in line with the other dragon changes. A Gorgon is toughness to 7, which I think is essentially almost like the Beastman giant, right? Yeah, fine. So they're making these rarely seen monsters tougher and cheaper, which you would think just encourages you to buy the big expensive kits. Yeah, they're not fools. They're not fools. They've done this before, but I like it. Like, that's not a negative change. That's very much a positive change, I think. Cool. I like it. All right. Hagtree Fetish. Change the rule as follows. Whenever the bearer of the Hagtree Fetish successfully casts a magic missile, they may reroll any roll to wound of a natural 1. That's significant. So no longer rerolling all to wound, you only reroll 1s. That's significant. Okay, that's pretty good. Okay, good. Fucking hate the Hagtree Fetish. Vialtide, change the spell's casting to 9. Okay, that's what it was before. And then change the effect as follows. The target enemy unit suffers 5d6 strength 1 with an AP of 2. So change its effects as follows. So you're deleting the bit where it says no armor, Vialtide. This is significant, right? Vialtide, no armor saves permitted. You can have ward and regen. That's significant. That is huge for Beastmen. Okay. So obviously this almost essentially nerfs the Vialtide spam list. You used to be able to get 4 or 5 Vialtide casters in a wild herd list, and they would just blast dragons and other big beasties. But now it's considerably reduced because you're no longer blasting big dragons. You could actually run a dragon into Vialtide armies and survive. Well, hopefully. That's great. That's fantastic. I think that's really, really positive. I'm really happy that that's no longer really like a viable thing. Great. Yes. Excellent. Excellent. I hope you folk think this is also a positive change. Give me a big thumbs up if you do. Great. Vialtide is dead. Long live Vialtide. Ushabti changed the ballistic skill to 2. Oh. Oh my god, this is definitely Christmas Day. This is like Christmas, birthday, and Halloween all thrown into one. So, and in fact, I'm going to claim this one as one of the suggestions that I had, because this was what I said in that video that I mentioned earlier, where basically Ushabti being ballistic skill 3 was just weird and annoying, and now they're ballistic skill 2. They hit on 5s. That's a big change. That is a big change actually, and I'm totally for it. I think that's great. I think that's fantastic. Great. Thank you. Thank you. Skeleton Horsemen changed the unit size to 4+. Okay, so they made them slightly smaller. That's okay. They'll still be units of 5 minimum because for objectives. Sepulchral Stalkers changed the points to 49. I think Stalkers are just quite crap, to be honest, which is probably why you have not seen too many of them. Sepulchral Stalkers. 2 of them, 104. So essentially 52 points each at the moment, and they are reducing them to 49. 3 points change. Great. I don't think we'll see that many more of them. I don't think points is the problem with them, to be 100% honest. But it is what it is. Okay. Any other changes? Icon of Rakaph. Ooh, change the rule as follows. Unless it makes a charge move, a unit carrying the Icon of Rakaph may perform a single free reform after moving during the remaining move subphase. They fixed Icon of Rakaph. Oh, Scott, you're going to be such a sad boy, aren't you? Yeah. I can see him. I can hear him weeping from his Newcastle fort. Good. Fuck the Icon of Rakaph. Okay, this is great. This is a really positive change. Icon of Rakaph was just one of these items that I don't think they thought it through properly as to what it actually meant, because previously you could chop and change your unit reforms after like pursuing and fleeing. It was just a real pain in the arse. Now it says categorically it has to be in the remaining move subphase, essentially limiting it to just being a movement ability rather than like a charge or like pursue ability, which is always a real pain in the arse. So yeah, great, love it, big thumbs up for that. Oh, this is good. Poor Tomb Kings and Beastmen. Okay, this is interesting. So far, Chaos Warriors up, Beastmen changed. The current lists are down, but the beast part of Beastmen is up, so that's great. Tomb Kings are generally down, which is fantastic. I think, the Ushabti and the Icon of Rakaph are significant changes. Okay, this is great. Okay, next. Orc and Goblin tribes errata. Troll Hag changed the weapon skill characteristic to 3. What is the Troll Hag? Is she like a 2 or something? Orcs and Goblins. Let us fine. Where is the Hag? Troll Hag. Is she even in here? Troll Hag. Weapon skill 2. Yeah, okay. So the weapon skill's gone up to 3. Fine. That's good. Weapon skill 2 is terrible. Weapon skill 3 is somewhat better. But especially because she's like a character type person. So yeah, great. Bone Grinder Giants changed the toughness to 7. Again, in line with all the other giant changes. Fine. Warriors of Chaos themselves haven't had an errata there. Beastmen Brayhard's errata. Warped Gores, Furious Charge, fine. Primal, what are Warped Gores? Okay, Primal Warherd, add Furious Charge to Gores to list of special rules. The Praeton changed the wounds to 5. Again, I think that's up from 4. So yeah, it's just a consistent across the board. All these lesser seen beasts have been pumped up by either an extra wound or extra toughness or reduced cost or any combination of the three of those. And I think that's a positive. Great. The more beasts we see, the more fun the game will look, I think, to passers-by. Oh, Cetrus Fury Errata. Barded Skeletal Steed, add counter charge. Okay, fine. Scroll of Summoning. Change the spell effects to the target friendly unit regains D3 lost wounds and until your next start of turn subphase improves regeneration by 1. What is the Scroll of Summoning? I have not seen that item. Scroll of Summoning was the target friendly unit regains D3 lost wounds and until your next start of turn subphase improves the armor value of its regeneration save by 1. And they've changed it to improves its regeneration value by 1. So they've taken the armor value part out of the wording, which to be honest was always a little bit confusing. I was not a fan of having the word armor value be applied to ward saves and regeneration saves because it really confused people. So I'm fine with that. I think that's great. Anything to make it clear and easier to work with, I think is great. Okay. Anything else? Warriors of Chaos, Raising of Westerland. If a single character or unit takes 2 or more of the same chaotic trait, are its effects cumulative? No. What chaotic traits did people stack? Is this the toughness thing? Chaotic traits. Characters, ability, unnatural fortitude was the toughness thing. Okay, I don't know if I ever saw anyone taking more than 1 chaotic trait. I guess this clarifies that it's not cumulative. That's fine. I haven't seen it, but to be honest, I've not really seen a lot of chaos outside of basically the dragon lists since the Raising of Westerland Arcane Journal has been released. So I've not really seen a huge amount there. Oh, there's still more. Oh, Tomb Kings. When raising dead, can they be raised within an inch of an enemy model unless the unit is engaged in combat? No. Okay. That's a clarification for something that I thought was obvious, but okay, fine. Can a Royal Herald take hits on behalf of a monarch that is engaged in a challenge? No. That is amazing. Are the effects of Eternal Taskmaster cumulative? No. Oh, Scott, I'm going to have to message him. For those of you who don't know, from the Forgotten North crowd. Oh, poor bugger. He will be weeping. Probably the most prominent Tomb King player in the UK, I would say. He's had the most success with him, part of the Team England lot. But this is a huge... It's not huge. It's a significant nerf to Tomb Kings. Tomb Kings is so far still good, but they're taking hits. They are taking hits. So that nobody cares about that. This Royal Herald thing, that was always a bugbear of mine because it felt weird when you are in a challenge with somebody and then you can offload hits onto somebody not in a challenge. That's a mechanic that's never really been in the game before, at least not during my time playing Square Warhammer. So I'm great. I'm glad that's been clarified. That's fantastic. The Eternal Taskmaster thing, that was always a loophole as well. Like you could have 2 or 3 of these guys, and then suddenly you've got like this big Tomb King blob that can absolutely massively, get lots and lots of extra attacks, and then you can't deal with it and all the rest. So, wow, Tomb Kings have taken a hit. But in all the right places, I think this is really good. This is more than I could have hoped for. Because I'll be honest, Tomb Kings are one of the armies that I find least pleasant to play against because of they have all the rules and they seem to be a favorite. But it does make me wonder how this leaves other armies and how this is going to change the meta. I'm going to keep reading and see what else we come up with because this is a significant change. This will make a big difference to Tomb King players. Can a Casket of Souls move at the end of the shooting phase of its turn using the reserve move special rule? Should it have it? No. Okay. Again, closing a loophole. This is when you can cast that reserve moves spell on the whole army, and the casket moved, which is an immobile object. I think that's what it's called. Immobile object. This clarifies that no, it cannot move, even if it was an immobile object, which is fine. I think that makes sense. Yeah, cool. I'm happy with that. Nothing there. Chaos Marauders. Oh, this is just an update for Chaos Marauders. Marauder Horse. Yeah, okay. Okay, so that is the Ravening Hordes. Big changes. Really big changes. What do we think? I think positive. So Tomb Kings have taken a big hit. Great. Screw them. Orcs are better. Or the things in Orcs and Goblins is better. Fanatics are worse. Great. Giants are better. Fantastic. Trolls are better. Fantastic. You know, Orc mobs, there's a reason to take it. Chaos are now, I think, worth considering. They certainly have a little bit of, yeah, I might start flirting with chaos again. The temptations of chaos. Okay, I don't hate that. The Beastmen have taken a bit of a hit to the most popular builds, which is fine because I'll be honest, it was probably not the most fun list to play against, and even the Beastmen players will admit that it's probably not been the most fun to play. So yes, Beastmen have gone sideways. They've gone away from the zappy magic guys and more into like big stompy monsters, and all of us have lots of attacks when we charge type of thing, which is what Beastmen should be. They shouldn't be these sort of like weird magic dudes sitting in you know, in the forest zapping people for death. So great, fantastic, happy with that. The Tomb Kings really took a hit here, but they're not terrible. They're just not. So far, I don't think they're in the top 4 armies for me. I don't think. Interesting. Okay. So overall, yes, like it. Ravening Horse changes. Now we're now moving on to the Forces of Fantasy, and I really hope that they've made positive changes to here to High Elves. I still don't know. You guys probably know because some of you have already read this. Please tell me High Elves are better. Please give me a reason to use High Elves. I am really, really sad if all they've done is make everybody else worse and left High Elves the way they have been. Here's hoping. Right, we can live in hope. Okay, Forces of Fantasy. Let's have a little look. Anything on the left-hand side? Miners. Reduce the cost of blasting charges to +1 point per model. Cool. Slayers. Add Furious Charge to the Troll Slayer and Giant Slayer. Yeah, probably should have had that anyway, to be honest. If everybody else has it, they have it. Fine. Gyros. Gyrocopter. Add Disperse Formation to the list of special rules. What's that? Units that fly high above the battlefield adopt Disperse Formation to prevent calamity. To maintain skirmish formation, every model in this unit must be within 3 of another model belonging to the same unit rather than the usual 1. However, unlike most skirmishers, models with this special rule do not have a 360 vision arc. They instead have a 90 vision arc corresponding to their front arc. Ooh. So, okay, gyrocopters. So basically, I think Disperse Formation up until now was 2 inches. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. I'm not even going to look that up. I think it's been 2 inches. So now they can be further apart, but they only have a 90-degree vision arc to their front arc. But they're still skirmishers, right? Every model in the unit must be within 3 belonging to the same unit rather than the usual 1. Question. And I know this is, you know, competitive gaminess at its best, but what stops you from like having like essentially a unit of 3, but they're facing in different directions? Like which one is the front arc? They're skirmishers, right? So they can face different directions. Am I wrong? Like I think they think that you just move them as like a line of 3 or however many in a unit, and they all face in that direction. But what stops them from looking like in opposite directions or higgledy-piggledy directions and actually have a pseudo 360 line of sight? Or the flying square, the gyro square, where essentially they are 4 gyros in a unit and they all look into the corners and provide a 360 line of sight, and you fly as a little gyro square, little dwarf square. I'm hopefully that is not possible, because that would be stupid. And if it is possible, it should be nipped in the bud really quickly. All right, okay, fine. Cannon, change the points to 95. Is that a points down? Is that actually? I think that might be points. Are they getting cheaper? Dwarf Mountain holds. Let's have a little look. Cannon is currently 100 points, and it's going down to going down to 95. That's not really a massive change. Fine. Organ gun points to 115 from 120. So a 5-point change. Really? Flame cannon to 120. Flame cannon would be funny if this increase in cost 5 points cheaper. Nobody takes flame cannons. Like, not even Richie takes flame cannons, I don't think. I don't understand why making things 5 points cheaper is going to make a difference. I don't think that's enough. I think you need more. They are pretty poor artillery, to be honest, for being like the masters of gunpowder and stuff. Okay, fine. Okay. What else have they changed about dwarves? How they stunted these guys? Pegasus. Oh, we're not in Pegasus now anymore. Is that it? Is that all the changes to dwarves? They've reduced the cost of a few things, given Slayer's Furious Charge, and nerfed gyrocopters. All right. Poor dwarves. This doesn't give me high hopes for high elves. Okay, Pegasus. Add the following note after the list of special rules. Note that, unlike most skirmishers, this model does not have a 360 vision arc. They instead have a 90 vision arc corresponding to the front arc. Peg Knights. Wow, okay. Wait, hold on. This is Pegasus. Is this... This is Pegasus in Empire, right? But I'm guessing... Oh yeah, here we go. Barded Pegasus. Yeah, so essentially, units of flying skirmishers now have to have a forward arc. Okay, so this is not the solution that I suggested in my episode previously, but it is a good solution. I don't hate it. I'm still not a massive fan of this idea of being able to have your skirmishers face in different directions. So that might be something that'll come out that's going to be a bit of a pain in the arse. But I like where they're going, where essentially they're limiting these super maneuverable 360 line of sight, charge in any direction type of flying unit to they're sort of tightening the screws on these with every single iteration. Totally fine with that. I'm happy with that. I think that's a positive. So the Pegasus here is the same. It does make it a bit worse for characters though, which is a shame. But again, that's a small sacrifice in order to make peg buses less interesting. This does bring down Bretonians quite a bit. Anyway, we're in Empire, right? Sorry, focus. Stay in Empire. Free Company Militia. Add Furious Charge to the list of special rules. Fine. Nobody cares. Again, at this stage, you might as well add, if you're an infantry and you charge, you get +1 attack. Like, that would be an easier thing to change. I wonder if this means that this FAQ was created after the book went to publish, which is entirely possible, because that book was probably the new core rulebook was probably published 6 months ago, 7 months ago, basically January, February, and this FAQ's probably got firmed up a little bit after that, so that's fine. That makes sense. But you're adding a lot of extra text to army books when all you had to do was change one universals, or just like add a paragraph somewhere. Fine, it's a workaround. Great Swords and Counts Champion. Change the strength characteristic to 4, add Furious Charge. Yep, as is, everything's getting Furious Charge. Fine. Oh god, what are they going to give Furious Charge to in high elves? They'll probably give it to like archers or something, or spearmen, or something else crap that nobody cares about. All right. Pistoliers. Change the points to 15. Now, Pistoliers, were you going up or going down in cost? Oh, I'm in dwarves. My bad. Empire of Man. You can see I don't create a lot of Empire lists. Pistoliers. Where you at? Pistoliers? 80 points. So that's what? 20 each? My maths is... Oh, no, sorry, 16. My maths is off. Apologies. It's getting late. Let's have a look. So they've changed it from 16 to 15. Fine. Okay. Empire Knights changed the points to 20. Empire Knights were... Empire Knights. Inner Circle Knights. Where are Empire Knights? 84. So Empire Knights were 21. You've reduced them by 1 point. Is that going to make a difference? I don't think so. Inner Circle Knights down to 28 from... What were you before? 29. So like incremental tiny points changes. I fear it's not enough. I feel like when 3 points, 2 to 3 points is minimal changes. One is insignificant changes. You're basically, if you didn't see them before, 1 point change is not going to change you taking them. You need to change the rules, not the actual points value in these guys. Sorry. Hailstorm rocket batteries. Change the weapon strength to 4, AP to 2. Now, I think that has gone up. I'm pretty sure it used to be 3. Hailstorm rocket battery. Yeah, used to be 3, AP 1, and it's the big template, right? Oh, no, it's the 3-inch template. I thought it had a big template. Maybe I'm misremembering. Weapon strength to 4, AP 2. Okay, fine. How much are they? Hailstorm rocket batteries. 125 points. 125 points for like a small template that's strength 4, AP 2 with the amount of bonuses we have to infantry. Yeah, I think that's good. I think that's a bonus. I think that's good. Okay, Bretonians. What have we got here? Barded Peg. Yep, we've mentioned that. Is now Blessed Triptych. Change the rule to follows. A unit that contains Blessed Triptych gains the stubborn special rule. What was it before? Blessed Triptych. Unit that contains a model equipped with the Blessed Triptych gains a stubborn special rule. Okay, I'm with you now. Okay. So, that's quite good. So before, the Blessed Triptych was on like a champion model. If you killed the Blessed Triptych before the unit lost its first round of combat, the stubborn was gone. Now it's essentially a unit upgrade where you buy the Blessed Triptych and the unit has stubborn. It's essentially a way to get stubborn on that unit, and you can't take it off. Like, you have to kill the whole unit. Contains a Blessed Triptych gains its first. I believe that's how that works. I could be wrong, but that's how I read it. Okay, what next have we got? Battle programs. Knight Errant. Change the unit size to 3+. Mounted Knights of the Realm. Change the unit size to 3. So those are down from 4. Is that significant? It's good. It's not good enough, but it's good because the Mounted Knights of the Realm are a 1+ restriction. It's not a restriction. It's a bloody minimum requirement. Mounted Knights are a +1, which means you have to take them, and taking 4 of them was crap. Taking 3 of them is better. This is a more significant change than like a points decrease or increase. I think that's actually not bad. Positive for. I mean, it doesn't take away your Peg Knights being humped, but it's very good. Peg Knights. Here we go. This is the dispersed formation thing. Blah blah blah. Skirmish formation 19. Yeah. So all flying sort of, well, Pegasus or monstrous mounts are now this funny reworked skirmishers. I mean, to me, it sounds like you should have maybe fixed skirmishers core rule, but I can appreciate that essentially the core rule book went into production, then they decided to fix it. This is the fix that they implemented. I look forward to the next time that there's a change in the core rulebook where we start to see these changes come into the core rules. So basically, if I'm an existing player, I wouldn't be buying the new core rulebook. I'd be buying the next updated core rulebook, whenever that will be. Hopefully, it'll be at some point. Okay, any other exciting stuff that we have? Over into Wood Elves. Branch Wraiths change the movement to 6 from 5, I think, and add Armor Bane 1 and Furious Charge. So I think they had Armor Bane 1 already as of the last FAQ. Furious Charge is being sprinkled on everybody. This is the Furious Charge FAQ. The Furious Charge FAQ. That's an episode title. Okay, that's fine. That's cool. That works. I don't hate that. Oh no, hold on. Was the Branch Wraith not the only one that wasn't movement 6? And the other, yeah, that was it. They basically forgot to upgrade the Branch Wraith when they actually updated the other Branch Wraithy things, whatever they're called. Just going to skip over that. All right, Eternal Guard, Martial Prowess. Change the rule as follows. During the first round of combat, a unit with a special rule gains +1 modifier to its weapon skill. In addition, a unit with a special rule can make supporting attacks to its flank, rear, as well to the front. So they've changed Martial Prowess. I mentioned Martial Prowess earlier, saying that this whole thing about being able to get press of battle in all directions essentially shits on this martial prowess rule that we used to have. But now they've changed it. During the first round of combat, unit with a special rule gains +1 to its weapon skill. Is that significant? Who has martial prowess? It's like Spear Elves? Dark Elves? Blackguard, Dark Elf Warriors, Elven Spearmen, Eternal Guard, Guardians of Tal'Sin, Lothern Sea Guard, Phoenix Guard, Rapier Crossbowmen. Okay, so basically a whole bunch of crap elves have martial prowess, and now, I mean, these are all Blackguard or web skill 5, right? Or something like that, yeah. Which is not insignificant, because them being web skill 6 in the first round is actually decent. They're like semi swordmasters. But like an Elven Spearman going from 4 to 5. Have we still got Elven reflexes? God, I hope so. Okay. Fine. Martial prowess is it's better. It's better than nothing. I don't love it. It's not enough for me. War Dancer and Blade Singer change the strength characteristic to 4, then change the War Dancer attacks to 2, Blade Singer attacks to 3. Now, War Dancers at the moment are 1, aren't they? Yes, so you're doubling the amount of attacks that you have on War Dancers. That is good. I like that. And strength 4 when before they were strength 3. Okay. Okay. That's cool. Will we see more War Dancers because of this? Maybe. Will every army contain War Dancers? No, probably not. I don't think that's a significant enough change, but it's good. It's a move in a positive direction. This gives me hope that they've done something good to High Elves. I know we're in the Elven realms now, so we must be nearby. Okay, so let's have a little look at what else we have. Dryad and Nymphs. That's the thing that I meant. Dryads were movement 6, and previously the Branch Wraith was not part of that change, and it felt really weird because they clearly missed it out in the last FAQ. So that was an omission. The Dryad and Nymph thing was changed before, so they're just being consistent. Fine. Treekin and Elder changed the toughness to 6. That's quite cool, because Treekin are toughness 5, which makes them quite tough. They're not particularly hitty, but they were toughness 5. They are now toughness 6, which puts them in the realm of like old school monsters prior to this, every monster is toughness 7 type changes that we've seen recently. Okay, I like that. I think that's good. It makes them more of an anvil unit, something I wish High Elves had. Can you get that I'm bitter about High Elves? I will stop harping on about them when I see the big massive changes that I'm sure are there. I'm sure are nearly there. Okay, Sisters of the Thorn change the points to 22. They changed the unit size to 4+. Right, Sisters of the Thorn. Great list, and we're looking for Wood Elves. Let's have a little look. Sisters of the Thorn. What were you before? Sisters of the Thorn were 22. Change the points to 22. Am I on something? They are 22 already. Oh, is this? Oh, it's blue. Okay. Sorry. So this is obviously a previous change that they had done in the last FAQ, in the last Ravening Hordes. No, Forces of Fantasy. Let me just see. Sisters of the Thorn. Yeah. So previously they had made them 22 points. So they're still 22 points now. There's no change there, but they've given them a minimum unit size of 4. And they were 5. So yeah, you can make them slightly smaller, slightly more MSU style. Cool. I'm not against that. I think that's pretty good. Wild Riders points to 26, unit size of 4+, which I think is, again, you're probably just 1 fewer. Wild Riders. Ooh. No, 26 points. Okay, so they're not changed the points cost of them from the last time, but they have made them units. They have made them 1 fewer for a minimum unit size, which essentially puts them from 130 to just above 100 points, 104 points, which is 100 points for a pretty hard hitting unit, pushing the MSU style of Wood Elves. I don't hate that. I think that's pretty good. Yeah, I think that's not bad. Warhawk Riders down to 41 points. Warhawk Riders were Warhawk Riders, Wild Riders, Warhawk Riders, 44 points, and now we're down to 41. Okay, 3 points change. That's pretty good, because in a unit of 3 of them, 3 is minimum size, right? That's 12 points difference. That's essentially a free champion, a free champion, and almost a free charm shield. You can give them free arrows essentially. Or think of it that way. So yeah, that's totally cool. I don't think you'll see Warhawk Riders more. I don't think the problem with them is that, I mean, that's still really expensive, I think, for what you get. But I think they're not bad. They're not bad. So I'm starting to see red in the high elves bit. So I'm going to take a little breather there, because we have been going for almost 2 hours at this stage, and the amount of people that we have in the chat is only increasing. So thank you. Again, thank you very much, everybody who's come to join us this evening. It's very much appreciated. If you can hit that like button, that would be even more appreciated. Thank you very much. Thank you for spending your evening with me. It is very much appreciated, as always. I'm always flabbergasted by the amount of people that come and watch this stuff. So, right, let's crack on. We're almost at the end. Hi, Elves. What have you done to my poor boys? Okay, Elven Spearmen, change the points to 8. I don't think they're particularly, I think they're only like 9. Let me have a look at my Battle March list. Okay, so Elven Spearmen were previously, yeah, I think that's 9, right? Were previously 9 points. They are now 8 points. Okay. I mean, Cathay Jade Warriors are 8 points, and they're way better. Okay. Elven Archers are now 9 points. Elven Archers were 10 before. Okay, 1 point less. Fine. That's quite nice. Seaguard are 10. Oh, I think that's significant, actually. Seaguard were 12. Am I right? No. Seaguard were 11. It was shields. They were 12. Okay. Okay. So points reduction is fine. That's good. That's positive. Silver Helm's unit size to 4. Dragon Prince's unit size to 3. Bolt thrower 70. Is that down from 80? What are bolt throwers? Bolt throwers are nobody takes bolt throwers. 80 points. It's not enough. 70. So, okay, so that's overall. These point reductions are all good. They were needed, sorely needed. It will make elves a little bit better, a little smidgen better. Not enough so far, but better. You're not going to see bolt throwers. You're still not going to see bolt throwers. I mean, the fact that goblin bolt throwers are like almost as effective and they're like 40 points or something ridiculous like that, 40, 45 points, whatever it is, means that you're not going to see a 2 wound 70 point model that has terrible shots. It's not impressive. Nobody cares. You're not going to see bolt throwers. That's my point. Dragon Prince's unit size 3 is not bad. So it looks like all the heavy cavalry is sort of moving towards these like smaller unit sizes. The Silver Helms being unit size 4 is actually not insignificant because they are core and is a fantastic place to put a Ring of Fury on the champion. So let me just have a little play around with this. Silver Helms, let's say you've got 4 of them and you give them shields and you give them a champion and you give them the Ring of Fury. There we go. Boom. So that is 151 points for 5. You take away what? 24 points. So that's 100. So it's just above 126 points. Is my maths correct? 126 points for a unit of 4 with a Hammerhand bound item. That's not nothing. Like, I'm quite enjoying these little idea of these like small sort of units getting around and stuff and not giving up too many points. That's almost like chaff for Hiles. That's almost chaff territory. Okay, so far positive. Next thing, Seed of fuck. Why have you removed extremely common from the Seed of Rebirth? Why? Where did the elf touch you, James Workshop? Why did you remove the Seed of Rebirth? Oh, I get it. It's a cheap magic item. It's a very cheap magic item, and it is a really good benefit, and you usually run it on dragons and stuff. But elves are terrible. Elves are really bad at wounding stuff. They have no decent strength. Everything has just increased in toughness. And the only thing they had going for them was a few cheap magic items, which were pretty good. And this is no longer an option. Boo. Don't like it. Don't like it. Does not make up for the fact that you allegedly have helped the high elves. So don't like it. 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 Right. Martial prowess. We know the martial prowess changed to weapon skill. Fine. That's sort of similar to what I was mentioning. They should change the elven reflexes thing, but they haven't. So that's totally. I'm so sad about the Seed of Rebirth thing. Okay, fine. Okay. I mean, other armies have been screwed. Okay, next. Is that it? That's everything you've given to high elves. Okay, so I will take a pause to lament on the sadness that high elves will remain shit. They will remain the same as they have been, if not worse, actually, because we now don't have this. You'll have a few more units. You have a few more options. The composition of armies will probably change a little bit, but they needed more. They really needed more than this, and they haven't got it. Wood Elves have had a bigger boost. And to be fair, Wood Elves needed it as well. I'm more excited by Wood Elves than I am about High Elves at the moment. It's sad, but I don't think the Elves will be coming out for the rest of this edition. I guess we'll just have to play Chaos and Cathay. We haven't seen any Cathay changes yet, so I guess we'll keep cracking on. Right. Dwarves. Scout gyros, the skirmish formation thing, that's fine. Empire of Man, veteran outriders. Change the rule to as follows: 0 to 1 unit of outriders in the city-state of Null may be designated veteran outriders. Missile weapons wielded by veteran outriders are not subject to Plunderous special rule. What is the current rule for veteran outriders? Let's have a look. Missile weapons wielded by outriders included. Okay. So essentially, that has changed from every outrider in the Nuln army being able to negate Ponderous. Ponderous, I believe, is Ponderous is moving shoots, isn't it? To hit modifier for -2 for moving and shooting rather than -1. Yeah. So basically, they've limited the viability of Nuln like shooty armies because of this one tiny little change. That's going to be significant to Nuln armies. I don't hate it. Nuln was never a fun army to play against, to be honest. This has made them considerably worse. I think maybe even killed Nuln. This is interesting. It'll be interesting to see how much of a difference that makes to the armies going forward. I think that is not insignificant. So sad about high elves. Okay, fine. Imperial Ogres made them cheaper. That's fine. Squintops, Marvelous, Magnifier, delete Asterix. This has killed Nuln. There's not going to be any Nuln armies anymore. That's it. Anybody who's been using Nuln, sorry, pal. You might as well sell them now, because as soon as people realize this is out, the stocks on them is going to go down. Okay, I'm actually quite happy with that, because again, not a fun game. It's just a shame I won't be able to play with high elves because they are still pants. Bretonian errata or the Fae changed a note at the end of the rule to note that the enemy player only wins victory points for destroying the Green Knight the first time he loses his last wound and is removed from play. Interesting. Okay. So this is a nerf to the Green Knight, obviously, who's a bit of a feature in this edition, who's been a bit of a pain in the arse for a lot of people. So essentially, and this is almost like a house rule comp thing that we've seen at some events, where you get victory points for killing the Green Knight. Previously, you didn't get it unless he was actually dead. But here, you get it as soon as you kill him. It's just that he comes back and you can still use him afterwards. And I think that's totally fine. I think that's a very good change. I'm very, very positive about that. Okay. Guardians of the Sacred Site. Change the second paragraph to, during the compulsory move subphase of the turn in which he was awakened, the Green Knight may be placed completely within any natural terrain anywhere on the battlefield. For the purposes of this rule, a natural terrain feature includes any woods or any difficult or dangerous terrain. It does not include magical vortices, open ground, or hills, or any construction such as walls or buildings. Before the game starts, the player should agree upon which terrain feature the natural and which are not. I'm going to, again, claim credit for this one because this was my suggestion in that 3 rules to change Warhammer video. He totally should have come on during the compulsory moves subphase because it stops him appearing, charging the very same turn that he appears, which is a real pain in the arse. And this is a vast improvement to the way the Green Knight operates. It will hamper Brit armies. It feels like Brits have taken a hit. I'll be honest. Brits have taken a hit quite a bit, but have improved their friendliness, or how sort of fun it is to play against Bretonians. But they have become competitively worse, in my opinion. So that is a shame for Brits, but positive for everybody else playing against them. Cetra's Fury, Wood Elf, Orion, change the toughness to 6 and points to 405, then delete fear from this list of special rules. So this is always a funny one because he has fear and terror, and it was like, all right, why? There he is. So he is now toughness 6, which makes sense. He's a big, tough, demigod type guy. And now they made him toughness 6. Points 405. What was he before? Something quite low, I would quite high, I would imagine. Warriors, vampires, wood elves. Where are the wood elves? All right, fine. Create an army list. Wood elf realms. Orion's Wild Hunt. How much was he before? Orion, you were 455. Wow. That is the biggest reduction. 50 points. He's 50 points cheaper. I mean, to be honest, he's still too expensive, I think. 400. He's now 50 points cheaper. He's 50 points cheaper, and he is toughness 6. And he's ethereal, I think, as well. Okay, you might actually start seeing Orion. So this is interesting because one of our local players, James Gisray, did say he was going to take Orion to the Edinburgh GT, which is coming up in 2 weeks' time. And now he might actually follow through with that because Orion is now much better. He's still not amazing, but he is much, much better. So he had terror. Did he have fear? I don't see fear on this profile, but I think he had terror and fear, which is always a bit stupid. Okay, cool. Positive change. Totally happy with that. Arcane General High Elf. Warriors of the Wilderness. Change the first sentence of the rule as follows. Once players have finished placing terrain, a Thracian Warhost player may place one additional area of difficult terrain measuring no less than 3 and no more than 9. Okay. How is that any different? Oh, it's I think it's given sizes, right? Minimum and maximum. So this is an interesting point. This is one of the things that I mentioned before, which is a pain in the arse, was they don't have minimum sizing for some pieces of terrain, such as a herdstone. I've not seen a minimum sizing for the herdstone, so that's still abusable. But they've tightened it up for the high elves, because God forbid high elves have any fun. Lion Guard are now 17 points. They were probably about 16 points, and they've just made them more expensive for fun. Lion Guard, Lion Thracian Warhost. Let's have a little look and see if we have Lion Guard were 18 points. Yeah, down to 17. Whoop-de-doo, Basil. Merworms, 200 points. I think they were way more than that. So we might actually see something positive here. Are we going to see something positive here? Let's have a little look and see. Seaguard. Let's have a look. Merworms, 225. They've now made them 200 points. Okay. I'm okay with that, clearly, because, anything to give them a little leg up. Merworms are still quite expensive, because all they have is, 5 up armor save? And they have no other defense. No other defense. Yeah, okay, this whole thing about shooting, -2, long range, and all that. Is it going to stop a cannonball? No, it's not going to stop a cannonball. So, great. I have a merworm that is still in its bag, so I guess I'd be more keen to actually have a reason to have it out on the table again. But it's not enough to make it anything too exciting. So, overall, sad about high elves, but fine. It is what it is. I'll just accept that they're not the favorites in this edition. All right, so we have a few FAQs that have been asked. How does Master Rune of Adamant work on an Anvil of Doom? It increases the toughness of the crew, but not of the anvil. Master Rune of Adamant, if I'm not wrong, is the thing that makes it toughness 10, right? Master Rune of Adamant, toughness characteristic of 10. Yeah, so this clarifies that basically it's the crew, not the war machine, that is toughness 10, and that essentially means it's useless on the anvil, which is a shame. Yeah, dwarves have also taken a bit of a hit. I feel like elves and dwarves are not the favorite in this edition at all. All right, when a model hits an enemy unit using the death blow special rule, does the hit benefit from the model special rules? Yes. I think that was asked before. Fine. Happy with that. Dwarven Martin holds is entrenched, protected on all four sides, or just the front? Just the front, as stated on this rulebook. Okay. Great. I think entrenched is just a very uninteractive rule, and now low linear obstacles are essentially fixed or nerfed. I don't know which way you want to think about it. I think it's positive now, and this is a good clarification. Good. Happy with that. When a Goblin Hewer shoots using the Whirling Death special rule, does it add D3 modifier to the number of shots rolled for each rank and file, or just the single D3 modifier? Roll an artillery dice plus an extra D3 per rank or file for the unit, depending upon which the weapon is shooting into. Okay, so I think this was this was the Goblin Hewer nerf, accidental nerf that they did in the last FAQ, because essentially they made the Goblin Hewer even worse. It wasn't particularly great before. Before, in the last FAQ, they said when it shoots, does it add D3 number of shots rolled for each rank or file, or just a single D3? Just a single D3, essentially. They made it way worse in the last FAQ. This time, they clearly looked at it and went, that's not what we meant. Whoops, we've made it shit. Is back to how it should be. We might actually see some Goblin Heroes. It's not a terrible weapon, especially if we're going to see a lot more ranked up infantry and stuff. So, yeah, fine, great, I love it. I don't hate it. That's pretty good. Can a steam tank fire both a steam cannon and steam gun during the same shooting phase? Yes. I mean, it is a tank, so cool. Happy with that. Bretonian. Does a unit that include a Grail Monk with a Blessed Triptych lose Stubborn if the Grail Monk is killed before the rule can be used? No. As per the errata, a unit that includes a Blessed Triptych becomes Stubborn, regardless of whether or not the model that purchased that upgrade has been killed or not. So this is a question that nobody asked, because that's not how it worked before, but they've errataed Blessed Triptych, so they've put they've sort of like thought about the question in advance, and they've clarified that, in fact, yes, the Blessed Triptych is an upgrade for your Bretonian men at arms to give them stubborn for like, what is it, 15, 20 points or something. So good. I'm glad they clarified that. They've shown a bit of foresight into the type of questions that people would ask, and this is clearly answered that question that people would ask. So great. Thank you. Does a unit of battle programs include a Grail Reliquary benefit from Blessings of the Lady, or just a Grail Reliquary itself? If a unit includes a Grail Reliquary, the entire unit gains Blessing of the Lady. I think I sort of presumed they did anyway, but good. I'm glad they've clarified it for that one person asking about Bretonian questions this late into the edition. Wood Elf Realms. Does the Way Stalker's Hawkeye Archer apply to magical items that allow the bearer to cast a magic missile? No, it applies only to the Way Stalker's Azrai Longbow or to ranged magic weapon. That is actually a change. I wonder if this has opened something up. Let's have a little look and see. Because basically before, people were sad because Waystalkers just got humped. So before this FAQ, it said the rule applies only to their Azrai Longbow, but it exclude magic items. This now changes it so that, I mean, this is really an errata, but all right, whatever. Doesn't apply to magic missiles, but it does apply to magic weapons. You can now give your Waystalker the Sword of Sorrow, which is like a magical, it is a ranged weapon, right? Missile weapon cannot be used in combat. No word or regen saves are permitted. Range 30, strength 5, AP 1, armor bane, magical, multiple wounds 2. We might start seeing Waystalkers again. We might actually start seeing Waystalkers with the Sword of Sorrow. That is some cool tech, actually. I don't hate that, because suddenly you can start sniping characters. You can start doing a lot of damage. I think Wood Elves are on the up. I think Wood Elves have received a significant leg up, actually. I'm quite happy for them. You've targeted the wrong elves, but fine. Happy with that. Nothing for high elves in here. Oh, sad. Must a unit be in phalanx in order to not become disrupted when charged by a unit with first charge? Yes, units do not gain a benefit of being in a particular formation if they're not in that formation. Must a unit be in phalanx in order to become distracted? Okay, fine. Yet another Tomb King buff. Okay, so this is the sort of the goodies, as it were. Nobody's good in this game, but so overall thoughts with the Forces of Fantasy. Dwarves got worse. Empire got a little bit better, but not really. The Nuln Army's dead, which I'm happy with. But the rest of it is remained about the same. Bretonnians nerfed. However, the Blessed Triptych is a positive change. The smaller unit sizes are positive changes, but overall, like they're big hitters. The pig bus is now sort of dead. The Wood Elves have received a significant leg up, in my opinion. They have got so much really cool stuff. It's not enough to make them amazing, but it's probably enough to jump them a tier or two. Like I think Wood Elves are now able to compete a little bit more. I'm very happy with it. High Elves, they received a small leg up because they have reduced the points cost of a whole bunch of things, the unit size things. I guess you might see a Murworm around. So yeah, there's a little bit to play there, but I think overall High Elves are unchanged. Like essentially these they don't really do anything to High Elves. So I think unfortunately High Elves are now the worst of the elves, possibly, maybe. I'll stop going on about it. Okay, that is the Forces of Fantasy. Okay, so we have one final one left, and that is the armies of the Grand Cathay. Oh, version 1.53. That's what it was before, wasn't it? Grand Cathay 1.5.2. Oh, no, okay, fine. So what have you changed in the Cathay army? You changed anything in Cathay? Jade Banner. Change the rule as follows. When calculating its combat result, a unit carrying the Jade Banner may claim an additional bonus of 2. What was it before? Is that not what Jade Banner was before? Is it because it had the wording of when calculating its combat result, a unit carrying the Jade Banner may claim an additional bonus. Plus 2 combat result points. And what have you changed it to? How's that any different? Unit carrying the Jade Banner may claim an additional bonus of plus 2 combat result points. That's exactly the same as it is at the moment. Okay. If a Cathayan dragon is in base contact with an enemy unit when they transform, can they move out of base contact during their transformation? No. Oh, sorry. Just getting a bit excited there. If a Cathayan dragon is in base contact with an enemy unit when they transform, can they move out of base contact during transformation? No. So this is not insignificant. Essentially, this because at the moment they transform when they lose their last wound as a dragon, they transform into a human. And before you were able to sort of get out of dodge with your Miao Ying, and she could, teleport out of combat and stuff like that. This says that you have to stay in combat, which is actually a positive thing. I think that's great. I don't think it makes a massive difference competitively, but it's not an insignificant rules change. But there's nothing else. So Shugs are untouched. Shugs are untouched. Essentially one change, because I think that Jade Banner, I can't see the difference there. Shugs are untouched, and they've basically left Cathay as it is. Okay. Okie dokie. Okie dokie. Okie dokie. That is interesting. Okay. So that's the FAQ, right? There's nothing else to it. It's taken us about 2.5 hours to go through it. So it's quite significant changes. What are our thoughts about it? So overall, it looks like the theme that they've gone with this is let's make the game more intuitive. Let's make it more play like you think it should play. Let's tone down some of the silly things that we sort of missed out on, the item of Rakaph and bits and pieces. They've not touched raising undead, so that's a bit of a shame. Right, the big positives in this is that they have started to tweak skirmishers. Skirmishers were a big problem. They've tweaked certain problem skirmishers, such as the flying ones, so that's good. what else have they tackled that's a problem? Low linear obstacles. It feels like they've kind of fixed it. Like I don't feel it's as oppressive as it was before. Low linear now feels a little bit less like a hitting your face against a brick wall, basically. So that's great. I like that. They've tweaked the strong things in some of the armies. So Tomb Kings are down. Beastmen are sort of down. Wood Elves and Warriors are up. But Cathay and Vamps are essentially unchanged. Now, Cathay and Vamps are arguably the top two armies at the moment. And Tomb Kings and Beastmen can sort of compete with them. So there was this little tier of like 4 armies where you could have, it was probably Vamps, Cathay, Tomb Kings, and Beastmen. Like those 4 were definitely in a tier of their own. And now Tomb Kings are not in that tier anymore. And neither are Beastmen. So it's now unchanged for Cathay and Vampires. Obviously, no changes to legacy armies. I wasn't expecting them to do anything about legacy armies, but it is always disappointing when you're hoping that something will happen with it. So I think, yeah, that's going to be a bit of a pain in the arse. I think what that means is we're not going to get an edition for another year and a half, a new edition, and essentially what does that do to the meta? It will put Cathay and VC at the top, which means that we will need to add further comp in order to make those games a little bit more balanced, I think. What else will it do is it will probably mean that we need to the community rules that exist for legacy armies out there. I think they're going to continue being used, and we're probably going to see them more and more because they're untouched, to be honest, which is a real shame. It would have been nice for them to do something for them, but I don't think adding martial prowess to Dark Elves is going to make them any better, basically, is my thought. So that's a bit of a shame. But overall, out of 10, how would I rate this FAQ? I'd probably give it an 8.5. I think they've done a lot of really good things. There's a lot of things that I'm really happy they fixed. There's a whole bunch of things that I'm sad about. My high elves are unfortunately going to probably get relegated to the bottom of the gaming pile. I suspect high elves are not really going to get used very much at all. However, the warriors sound good. You can start taking the warrior fun bus again. That might be worth exploring. I'll have a look at that. Cathay is still unfortunately on top of the pile, so I think that's probably going to be the competitive choice going forward. But I think, yeah, overall, fairly positive, and it's definitely something for everybody there. Don't go yet. So what else do we have here? We have this wonderful little giveaway, which I know some of you have been waiting for. So let me just share this screen, and it might just blind you. There we go. So what we have here is we have the Wheel of Fortune. And this is for the giveaway of these magic cards, which are still current. They're still current, all the magic lores, and a few objectives, bits and pieces here as well. And they're still current because none of the points values and the casting values have changed. So I think that's a positive. Let me just make this a little bit bigger so that you can see my beautiful face in with it as well. So the conditions for this was everybody who commented on a specific video that I made previously, they got put into a draw. You'll see your usernames here on the right-hand side. There were 60 of you that commented, and one of you is going to win this set of magic cards when we click to spin this mad wheel. I hope you're ready, so let's do it. So what we'll do is we'll hit shuffle. That mixes up the names quite nicely. We'll hit that a couple of times. We can hide that. And now we can do the spin. Are you ready? I don't have like a spin noise, but let's do it. Let's see who happens to it, right? I hope I don't win. Ready? Let's do it. Who's it gonna be? 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 It is. Is it Fearless Historian? Yes, Fearless Historian. So whoever it is, you are the winner of this wonderful set of magic cards. Whoever you are, Fearless Historian, please get in touch with me. Either the easiest way is probably just to follow the link in this video. We've got the Discord group. Ping me a message on that, and wherever you are, I will post these out to you, and I'll stick it on the page to see who it is that has won it. And that is that. That brings us to the FAQ episode. Thank you very much for everybody who stayed with me. Questions. I will stay on for another few minutes. If anybody else has any questions that they want to raise, or any bits and pieces that I have missed, I'm more than happy to give folk the time of day if they have any questions. And if you are watching this as a replay, please pop the questions in the comments, and I will definitely get back to you on that front as well. Again, if you like this sort of content, please, hit that like button, subscribe, and hype it up as usual. We have got channel memberships, which people have been joining, and it's great because I did a video yesterday showing you what that money goes towards, and basically gets to improve the equipment that I use for this. This is not my new camera that I mentioned that I have yesterday, so this is still the sort of older camera that I'm less fond of. So hopefully, I'm going to start to put out more content with that sort of kit. But overall, yeah, thank you very much for supporting me, folks. I'm just going to give a few minutes for the stream to catch up and give people a bit of time to jump in with some comments. And I'll check them on the stream there as well. Simon's mentioning it's liking the warrior changes. Love it. If and when High Elves get some new models, they will get some more impactful changes for 2,000 point games. Yeah, I hope you're right, Simon. I mean, High Elves could improve with an Arcane Journal. Like, in my head, if you make an Arcane Journal, like the Calidor army, although I don't want more dragon armies, but let's say like the Phoenix armies, that would be really cool. Have you spotted the secret models hidden in the stream here today? Maybe that's a sneak peek of the next Arcane Journals for High Elves. It's not. Yeah, High Elves could be improved with an Arcane Journal, and maybe they'll make that a bit more viable. It's a real shame that them and Dwarves seem to be the unloved stepchildren of this edition. And some people say that's fair enough because, they dominated 8th edition. They didn't. I played them in 8th. They were terrible then as well. They weren't terrible. They were good. They were just one of many armies that was good. And now they're not at all. So yeah, hopefully that will change. I had fun playing Seaguard at last weekend. That was quite good. I would recommend, if you are taking High Elves, don't take them seriously because you'll just be very sad. Very, very sad. You're welcome, Dan. You're very, very welcome. Very much appreciate you joining us as well from Isle of Col. I hope the rest of your holiday goes pleasantly. Swabilis, do we now need a second edition with all those changes? Yeah, it's interesting because I can tell that they basically the book went to print, and then they decided, there's a whole bunch of changes that we could have added to the book, and instead we added them to each and every individual unit entry. So that Furious, how many times does Furious Charge come up? I'm actually going to have a quick look and see. Furious Charge. Let me share the screen so you can see what I'm doing, just to prove a point. Window, that one, cool. Right, Furious. Not in the main FAQ. Ravening Hordes 7 times. Forces of Fantasy 6 times, so that's 13. Cathay, I don't think they've changed it. So essentially, they've added it to 13 different units, and they could have just made it a universal special rule. You charge, you get Furious Charge. Fine. Yeah, but you can tell that the book went to print, and then they went, let's just add bits and pieces. I'm not really sure what's going on with that Battle March thing. The fact that they've essentially released the rules of Battle March, or 70% of Battle March, the sort of important bits of Battle March for free, and then you're expected to get a book. I can tell why the FAQ's landing now and not last week when people were waiting for pre-orders. Now people are like, oh, I've already pre-ordered my book and whatever else. And if you pre-ordered Chaos Warriors, fantastic. But I think everybody who's buying that core rule box is getting the Chaos Warriors halves. I've seen so many people flogging Cathay. But Cathay are now one of the top 2 armies. So if you want to win, play Cathay. And on that note, I have a Cathay army for sale. Yeah, maybe I'll flog us to at the next episode or something if things get really good. Outside of Nuln, Slayers are viable now. Yeah, feels like Slayers are a bit better, right? Are they that much better though? They're maybe the only element of dwarves that actually got a little bit better. The other ones less so. I don't think I don't think there's been a fantastic bonus for dwarves in this edition, unfortunately. It's really sad. Really sad. Not that sad, but it's fairly sad. I'm just scrolling through the chat here and have a look and see. Loyal Watcher 6145. Yes, it does feel like this is the first full version of the rules, right? The first sort of like full edition. Now, yeah, I think that I would agree with that as well. And that's it. That's it. Well, folks, it has been almost 2.5 hours of your time. So thank you very much for all of you joining me. I do appreciate your time and your attention as ever. Like, subscribe, join the Discord. We are doing an online tournament, which is called Pash Hammer. Fuck that, FAQ that. And it will be starting on the starting in a couple of weeks, actually. It's starting on the 19th of July. The link for that is in this video. So please come and join us. Test out these new rule changes. It's a really, last event was really good and people thoroughly enjoyed it. So I think people will enjoy this one as well. Please join us on that. Otherwise, come and join us on the next chat and hopefully we'll give us a bit of time to digest this, and there'll be more and more content coming out with what is all these changes mean for the game, mean for us. I am excited. I'll be honest. After all this, I'm not pessimistic other than about my Heralds. I am excited about the changes. I think I'm going to give Chaos a try. Cathay, we'll see. Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting, and I believe we're going to see an exciting 6 months plus of this edition. And yeah, we'll see what that brings. I can't wait to be part of that. Hopefully you will be too. Thank you very much for joining me. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Cheers.